With only 3 rounds left and all to play for, 8 of the best chess players on the planet were back and hungry for victory. A brilliant win by Anish Giri eliminated the hopes of former challenger, while Ian Nepomniachtchi's grind-out game against Wang Hao helped him maintain his slim half-point lead over his main rival. The competitors are desperate for points in the biggest tournament of the year. Penultimate round coverage of the candidates in Yekaterinburg starts now.
Welcome everybody to the Candidates Tournament being played at the beautiful Hyatt Regency in Yekaterinburg. We're determining who is going to challenge world champion Magnus Carlsen at the end of the year. And my name is Alejandro Ramirez. I'm here with Grandmasters Yasser Seirawan and Maurice Ashley. Guys, it's been a fascinating tournament, a long one that even started last year, ending up this year. But it is coming down to only a few players now.
Absolutely, it is. And hello, Alejandro and Maurice. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. As we are in the penultimate round of play, what I like to call the championship rounds, and really it's come down to a contest of 2 would-be challengers, Maurice, and that's Nepo and Anish. Great tension-filled tournaments, and these last 2 rounds, it's about the nerves.
It always is. And I consider the penultimate round to be the real money round. That's the one you set yourselves up for going into the last round. You can't bomb here and hope for the best in the last round. And the tension is high. A dream come true for a new Magnus Carlsen waiting in the wings. Now, who will it be? Who will be able to stand the intense pressure of the last 2 rounds?
Well, let's take a look at the standings there, as we have, of course, Jan Nepomniachtchi as the leader of the tournament, and he's followed closely, but not as closely as we think, as we're about to see, by Anish Giri, and of course with an outside chance is Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. As we'll see, the pairings are important for him. But guys, it's just about these 3 gentlemen. Everybody else pretty much eliminated from the tournament. Yes, they could improve their standings, but in the candidates, there's only one place that they care about, and that's top place. Speaking of that matchup between Nepomniachtchi and Giri, that's giving Nepo the tiebreak edge on top of the point edge. So remember, Jan Nepomniachtchi defeated with the black pieces like Anish Giri in a beautiful English, in which Nepo sat down on the board, refuted Anish's preparation, and came out victorious. This is not only giving him a half-point lead over the Dutch, but the head-to-head. That is the first tiebreak in the candidates, which means that essentially Anish is a point behind Nepomniachtchi. He has to make up more than just the half-point difference that he has. That's a tough task for sure, but is he up to it? He'll have to prove that he is world championship material. The format, of course, a double round robin. It started last year and we are finishing with the second half of the double round robin this year. Very much classical chess. We know it's 100 minutes to start the game. Throughout the entire game, you get an extra 30 seconds. But at move 40, you get an extra 50 minutes, and at move 60, you get another 15 minutes, something that we've seen quite a few times, especially here in the second half of the round robin. Of course, a prize fund of 500,000 euros, but nobody really cares about that. We care about the ticket to fight against Magnus Carlsen. The schedule, we have potential playoffs on the 28th, but those probably will not happen. I do not see a chance for the mathematical tiebreaks to be equal, which means we'll be finishing the tournament off with the next 2 rounds, the ones that we have right now and the ones that we have tomorrow. And that will be it. We'll be knowing who is playing against Magnus Carlsen later this year.
Thank you, Alejandro. And let's just jump right into, oh, sorry.
And let's take a look first at the road ahead for the top 3 with Maurice.
Yes, we've been talking about the 2 stars. They clearly, no question about it, odds are that they will be able to win. But there's one other player, a joker, if you will, in the pack of cards that might be able to change things around. So let's take a look at all 3, starting with Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. We've seen him just have disastrous results here, but he's still in it with a shout. It's possible. He's got to defeat Nepo today with the black pieces. He's done it before, at least defeating Nepo in this event. Can he create a probable distraction and blow the whole tournament wide open? Remember, his results against Nepo, 6-1. He's dominated this opponent. So Nepo knows, don't screw around. You might lose, but the odds are not great. And if he does win against Nepo, he'll probably still have to win in the last round against Wang Hao. Odds are not great, but for the title, who cares about odds? And speaking of one of the players whose odds look pretty good, actually, is Anish Giri. He's got 2 big games to close it out. This one against Grishuk, who he drew in the first half. Probably needs to win with the black pieces now. And Alexenko, the lowest rated player in the event, Anish defeated him in the first half. He'll look to do the same as well to really have a chance at this one. But chance schmance, throw that out the window. The player with destiny in his hands is Jan Nepomniachtchi. He's got the lead. He's got a bigger tiebreak lead, in fact. And all he's got to do probably is draw out. Right now, a win against Maxime, and all of Russia will be cheering. No question about it. Then he'll have Dingler in the last round. Will Ding show up? Will the real Dingler please stand up in that last round? I don't know if he's going to want to, given that he has no chances at all. But it's Nepo, the new number 3 player on the planet right now. And he can really show that he has what it takes. He has a great record, by the way, against Magnus Carlsen. So Magnus will have something to prove against him, but he's got to get it done. 2 rounds to go for history in his hands, guys, and it's looking like Nepo should take it. If there was a bet, I think we all would line up with the young Russian.
And let's take a look at the pairings, Alejandro.
Absolutely. It's this Maxime Vachier-Lagrave game that's going to keep our attention. And probably we will be keeping a close eye on that Grishuk-Giri game, as Giri definitely tries to make up the difference. It's almost a must-win game for him. To round off the pairings, we do have Wang Hao against Fabiano Caruana, not the most relevant for the first pole position, while Alexenko is playing Dingerlin. Definitely not the most interesting for the top position, but we'll keep an eye on those games as well. And Yasser, let's go straight into it. Take us around the horn, but there are some games that we absolutely have to look at.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into our most salient games. That's between Grishuk and Anish Giri. This came from a Capablanca variation of the Queen's Indian defense. Grishuk can lead with either hand, e4 or d4. And after seeing what Anish did in the previous round in the Sicilian, Grishuk said, no, let me play a queen pawn opening. Capablanca variation is typified with this move c5. It's an intriguing way of getting an imbalance, but I don't really favor, moving a potential attacker of the center. The c pawn usually goes to c5, attacks the pawn on d4. Now it's sitting on the square b4. And this variation, so far, Sasha's played it very well. It's just, he's traded a lot of the pieces. This move, h5, is a little controversial. I guess you want black to do something. Usually black plays for e5, maybe rook b8 as well as b5. But h5 was a bit of a surprise.
H5 is the type of move that Giri sees his chances of playing the World Championship disappearing. Let's play h5, let's make something happen. There is a lot of pressure to create something with the black pieces, and the annoying side that Grishuk has done so far against him, he's had such a solid approach to this opening.
Yeah, that's really the problem. If we go back, I'm more familiar with ideas of rook b8 and b5 looking to swap off this b6 pawn, potentially making some nice little tricky ideas of b5, queen b7 possible. But you're right. If black just basically tries to sit on the position and accepts further trades, his chances of winning keep going down and down and down with each trade. So the move h7, h5 says, okay, I'll look for some kind of counter chances over there on the king side, even though in a different circumstance I might play rook b8. Knight c2. The idea behind White's strategy is very clear. He wants to try to keep this knight as far out of the game as he can. Knight on a6, if you stay permanently there, you'll be worse. Rook b8 defends the pawn. Again, maybe starts to say, okay, I want to play for knight c7 and b5. Sasha made a very big decision. This move, e2, e4. Excuse me. I wanted to say that in one of the model games that I first remember back in the 80s by Alexander Belyavsky, by the way, Big Al, as we called him, put his pawn on e3, his queen on f3, rook on b1, pawn on e3, doubled rooks, and kept black under pressure. This move e2, e4 is a big one because after the move e6, e5, the strategic howler, like a really, really bad move that you just simply never want to make, is the move d5. The move d5 gives up this gorgeous c5 square, and the knight, instead of being forlorn and out of the game and, you know, stuck in the corner, not bothering anyone, suddenly is a raging monster on the c5 square. So you don't want to play d5, but okay, with this move e5, black is looking to win the c5 square. Well, Sasha says, I have my ideas too. I'm looking to win control over the d5 as well as f5 square. Yeah, you'll have a good night. Congratulations. But then again, maybe, well, hold on, if I'm not blundering a pawn, then again, so will I. I'll put my knight on f5 or d5. You'll have a good night. I'll have a good night too. Overall, I think the game's about even, but I do prefer White's slight spaced edge. Let's just jump into the other game of our tournament leader, and that is between Nepo and MVL. MVL approach to this game from the very beginning was, it's all or nothing. I'm going to play something that's non-theoretical, that's likely to be bad for me as black, but I'm going to force you to play originally, and I'm just trying to get you on your own. To my eyes, it looks like black has a bad version of a King's Indian defense. Having said that, we know that King's Indian defenses are those types of positions where if black ever lands a punch, a big punch on the king side, it can be a knockout blow. I like Nepo's position a lot. Having said that, there's still a lot of play in this position. We just saw, by the way, e4, a big time move, followed by f5, f4, trying to get a pawn wedgie going on the king side. Thoughts, guys?
Well, to me, this position may be the best that Maxime has had since the opening began. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't a good opening at all.
It was not at all. But here, and e4 by Nepo, you've got to think Nepo was happy with the draw. He's thinking a draw is just fine. Mm-hmm. But now that you've waved the flag in front of me, that red flag, I got to be a bull and go win this event. A win. Right. Almost assures him. It's not 100% clinch. It's not mathematical. Giri could win, and of course, he could lose. That is Nepo tomorrow, and Giri wins again, and he's overtaken. But those odds are just way too long and fanciful. Yeah. A win now could totally seal the deal, and you want to do that in the second to last round. That's what you set yourself up for when you play the initial phase of the tournament. And I think that Maxime is hoping that the pressure of the should I or shouldn't I? Should I kill this guy now? Should I go for it? Or should I keep playing solidly? Might cause Jan to waffle a little bit and maybe have a hiccup along the way. So pawn on f4, that's as aggressive a pawn as we can imagine him having. Go back a few moves, Yaz, to show the initial part of the position where we were looking at it going, ew. I mean, back when the bishop first hit f4, this position here, you could not imagine a black pawn on f4 after rook to e8. As a matter of fact, like, how are you getting your pawn to f4, pawn to e5, all that? How do you sneak past white's pawn center? We were liking other moves for Nepo right now. He did choose the very specific and intriguing trade of this dark squared bishop. And just a few moves. It didn't take much after rook b1 to e5 to happen, the knight dropping back f5 to happen. And now after queen f6 in this continuation, he switched back from the queen side and now over to the center and allow this move f4. This is some humdinger of a game. This doesn't feel like a draw at all. It feels like somebody's going to win. Chances favor white, but Maxime might be feeling like, I hear you, but I'm starting to get a little foothold somewhere. Maybe there's a chance for me.
All right, I agree that this is, for Maxime, something you want to see. Counterattacks here, counterattacks there. I got my pawn to f4. I'm not sure where it's going, but I can make some threats. My question is, does c5 work immediately? I keep trying to look at this move, but I'm not really sure how you defend. And knight b5 was my point.
You know, this is very, very specific plan, and sacrificing a pawn, and then the idea is, since you're threatening queen takes c5, I really don't have a choice, Alejandro. I kind of gotta take and play this.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure which knight to take, because I think I can also take on b5. I wasn't really sure which one. d6, knight b3 kind of things. I'm not sure if this needs to be calculated out, but
right.
It could also just be bad for black.
I'd be thrilled if I saw that as black. Like, that's as good as the position ever got.
But this looks like, isn't white just kind of taking over here? This looks like a really good queen compensation for a pawn.
Yeah, this pawn's not going to survive long, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking bishop h3. I'm thinking the rook can slam down.
Wait. We're up a pawn is black, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're up a pawn. You're saying you're willing to. You're also sacking an exchange as well. I don't know if I could do it, but we might as well just show it. It's got to be on the board. I'm not a person who likes to take these kind of exchanges, just to be sure. But let's just look at it at least. Knight c3.
Knight c3.
Take on b7 is the plan.
Yeah.
And then take on d1, and now d7's hanging.
Right.
All right, here we go. Now, nothing to block with, so you have to move, and then take on c6 with a pawn. Looks horrific. I would have gone to g7, h8 instead.
h8? Yeah,
I would say h6, honestly.
Yeah, h6. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Okay, we can come back as to where the king could move, because wherever the king moves, it looks a little bit awkward. But here.
Okay, but rook a1. Rook a1 is the counter
rook a1.
That's
so let's
actually
see. Takes rook a1.
What do you do about this?
Back.
Whoa.
I have to defend.
Your queen is guarding the f2 point. So
important.
Black can be specific. He could take on g3 and rook f8. And you better land. Oh boy, you're coming back on defense.
Yeah, this didn't feel extremely clean, I have to say.
No, and there's a queen f3 there. But knight f2 here.
Knight f2, queen e3.
Knight f2, queen e3 check.
Do I have a trick?
No.
Okay, then there's a queen f2 here. In that knight takes, I could play queen f2, no? Although you do have trade and knight no.
Yeah, this doesn't work, right? Knight f7.
I don't know, because where's your knight
It's a little bit
king g7?
It's a little bit weird.
It's a little far. Let's see where
okay, I'm just saying that C5 is the kind of move, Alejandro, that for me, while it feels good, it looks good, it's something like you want to punish your opponent. It's also one of those things, like we've just seen, like something could be rebound against you. If it works, it's like, mazel tov. But if it doesn't, it's sort of like, why did I throw everything away? To my mind, what I'm doing as white, or what I think Nepo should be doing, is just limiting the activity of those two pieces, the knight on a6 and bishop on b7, and saying, look, those are your problem, child. Like, you figure out how to get them back into the game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go knight e2, preparing your c5, and I'm not giving you nothing. I'm giving you absolutely nothing. And that's what he did. And maybe this is a prelude to capturing. That way we've got e5 ideas too. So that was a mouse.
But this move,
knight e2 by white.
This move is very solid, and it's one of those will he or won't he situations. I told you, is he going to go for the win or isn't he? Because here, Black does have the move c5 himself, and Black was lacking breaks for a long time. But this one, if the move e4, I'm going to tell you, the move e4, it may have been a good move. I'm not going to say it's not. But whenever I see this move, I think about what the potential minus. The bishop on b7, we know, is crying. I mean, just when am I ever going to get into the game? Someday d6 might happen, a bishop to c8. That day looks far off into the future. But the move e4 does very specifically bury your bishop as well. The bishop on g2 is weakened, and the f file is a little sensitivo on f3 with the pawn. You weaken the f3 square. So there's some pluses, but there's some minuses as well. And this move c5, stopping your c5 and getting the b4 square for the knight, it's not exactly the boom, hit him, crush that we thought was happening about maybe 6 moves ago. 6 moves ago, as you played a move like bishop takes knight on d6. You should point that out to the audience, a strategic concept that you play, which I thought was a fantastic trade, not counterintuitive trade for a lot of people, giving up a bishop for a knight. It was in this moment you said, let's take this piece, and whatever he takes back with, let's see him figure out how this bishop on a6, on b7, I was thinking, let's get to a6 somehow, but let's see how this bishop on b7 ever gets into the game. If we never trade off the d-pawns, how does the bishop on b7 ever get in the game? It just looks like a horrible piece. And this felt like some kind of action. The c5 move by white earlier instead of e4, that seemed very active as well as we go down this line. And I think there's a point here, right here, c5 instead of e4 has a tactical point. Knight a6, c5 takes knight b5. And you remember the line with c6. So it's takes on b5.
Queen takes.
And now c6 doesn't work because the bishop is breathing life on the long diagonal. So pawn takes runs into rook takes suddenly. And it's two pieces for the rook. I'm not sure if this is better, winning.
Oh, it's winning for sure. Yeah.
Looks like it's winning, yeah?
Should be winning, yeah.
So that e4 move followed by the knight e2 move. I'm saying Nepo is not exactly saying, come get him, kill him, destroy him. He's played a couple of solid moves, and I'm just wondering, is he, I'm not going to say he's buckling under the pressure, but he's certainly feeling it, and he may not want to take any risky chances with the most aggressive moves that we can. Of course, we're analysts, so we can get the like.
Yeah, well, that's a very important point that you just mentioned there with the ambush on this long diagonal with rook takes b5, because it does buttress what you said, Alejandro, that c5 might just have been a huge advantage white, because if I can't capture twice on c5, what am I doing? I'm dropping back with my knight. I hate these types of positions where, I hate these.
Doesn't c6 win there? I'm sorry.
Maybe
c6 even winning.
Just winning.
c6 looks crushing. You can't take twice because
this knight is just
in b5.
Horrible.
Oh, this is terrible.
No, this is absolutely terrible. If I can go c4, c5, c6, all with gain of tempo, I mean, it's just terrible. So maybe there was a clear miss here, guys. I mean, knight b5. Hamana, what am I supposed to do if I can't play knight takes b5, do I?
Now there's so many things hanging. I think you have to, right?
Yeah.
But this looks horrible.
This looks horrible. So c5 looks like it might have just.
How many? He sacked a pawn.
Huge.
Is knight d6? Can we continue that line to just check? With c5. I don't want to play this move after. Just play queen, knight takes b5. Looks forced. Queen takes. And knight d6, hanging c7.
And d7.
And v7.
This bishop is so bad.
Bishop a6, hitting
Rook
a pawn.
b6.
Oh boy.
Yeah, rook b6 starts to hurt, right?
Yeah, that's
Knight b5.
seriously.
Now you're just.
I'm not up a pawn anymore. Jeez.
You're not up. You're down a pawn. You're down a pawn.
No, stop.
No,
Wait. My knight gets to c3. Hold on. Let's finish the line. Rook e7.
No.
I'm just gonna keep hustling.
It's dead.
Hustling away. Keep going. Queen c6. That does allow knight c3 in a check, but that c6 pawn looks like
Rook a1 is completely winning.
Woo!
Yeah, terrible looking.
It sends a shiver up the spine.
Yep.
But it does reconfirm your point that c4, c5, a move definitely on White's agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It's what he wants to do. e2, e4. I hear you guys, what you're saying about this bishop, kind of getting stuck. But, it's the funniest thing. These bishops, I like to call them the accelerated fianchetto. They can poke their head out to the other diagonal as well and eyeball this pawn. But
c5. Yeah, no, I understand that, obviously this big center, but c5 by black, though, to shut things down for that bishop.
Well, first of all, does it shut things down or does it open up the position for White? Like, I take, you got to take, right? Mm-hmm. Got to take with the pawn. Now, can I do something to take advantage of this kind of loose knight? I don't know. Something like this to try to, I don't know, maybe on a good day, clip a pawn.
This just looks slightly less horrible, but it still looks horrible for black.
Slightly less horrible. That's nice. it's not pretty.
Okay, let's keep going. Trade queens. Looks like. Wait. I don't have to trade queens because I can take with the king. What about g5 instead? Sorry, let's back up. g5. If I don't have to trade.
g5.
I don't want to hang my.
Yes, you don't want to hang.
If I traded, the knight would be knight f3 comes later. Yeah, knight f3 comes with tempo.
Right.
So
knight f3 right now is very strong, no?
Same move, right? Knight f3.
Because knight takes e4. I have rook d7. You cannot play rook e7.
Oh, that's nasty. Rook d7. Maurice, that's
no. Your knight on e2 is hanging.
What do you mean? My knight on e2 is hanging? Oh, you mean like here? The king goes somewhere.
Yeah.
h6, h8, where?
I don't know. If it's wrong, we'll pick another one. But let's pick one for now.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is
knight takes and e2 is hanging.
That's okay.
I mean,
the position is hanging.
Still, the position.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. But remember, it comes back
the material?
to this.
It's even.
It's even, but knight d4 is coming. Rook c6 is coming.
Oh, this is terrible. The king is
knight d4.
Yeah, knight d4 is coming.
D4 is going to be an end of a life scenario
where the Catalan players live for such bishops. So what we're saying, in a nutshell, each and every one of you watching, is black's in trouble. Black is in trouble.
Hold
and
on. I
maybe
I want to keep fighting. Oh no,
sure.
I can't get f3 in.
You have to, but how do you fight? c5 looks not fun, but I can't allow c5 as black.
Well, that's the whole point. That's
right.
What Maurice is saying. He's saying, look, I mean, c5 is going to kill me. I better play it myself before you do.
An ugly move.
And I'm not even sure that this is a variation you really want either, because I'm threatening to take. I've got ideas of.
Here we will pretend that the knight on b4 gives me enough.
Obviously, you're going to think about sacking for this.
Yeah, at this point, just give up the dark squares, right? Well, I don't think I take. I don't think I take on f4. I don't know where my compensation is, but I try to find it.
Well, it's not in The beauty is bishop on b7. That bishop on b7 at the moment is just actually a tactical target. So what I wanted to do, by the way, just to finish the thought, was to capture on e5 and get my doggies rolling, push a baby, f4, e5. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So in fact, maybe this is, you end up forcing me to play this.
F-pawn, no?
Ugh. No, this looks terrible too.
By the way, let's go back to the game of Anish and Grishuk. As usual, well, what's the time on Grishuk's clock? 26 minutes. Okay.
26 minutes, an eternity.
We left it, yeah, for Grishuk, that's true. Queen to d3, knight to c7. As we know, that knight is the problem. Rook a b1, knight to e6. Problem solved.
Yep.
Well,
Grishuk has been playing, I say, beautiful chess. Just like, you see the way he's moving his pieces around, putting them on the perfect squares, it looks like, every time. And he is playing the class chess of this event so far. His problem, he lost to Nepo in round 1. That's all you got to say. Like, you shouldn't have lost to the guy in round 1, or else this would have been a completely different situation without any question. He's a half a point behind. Just could have easily made this his event, but that loss in round 1 has cost him. But he's been playing just sterling chess so far in these first 5 rounds, this being the 6th. Can he pull off a victory and keep his hopes alive? Slim hopes, to be sure. But if he does win this game and Nepo also wins, there is still a mathematical chance that he could pull it off. He could hope for Ding Liren to show up and beat Nepo in the last round while he takes care of Kirill Alexenko. He hopes. But at least he's trying and keeping a mixed up position here. I like white, to be sure, but black has his chances.
I think we all agree with that. White's slightly to be preferred. Look at this rook on b5, stronger center, easier plan, I would say. My rook's going to come to b1, and I'm going to pressure your b6 pawn. Yes, he's playing well. Yes, he's not in a lot of trouble, but we all prefer white in this position, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's the way of putting it, is white for choice. But I do think that black has to return, whether it's now or in the not too distant future, of getting some counterplay with h5, h4. Also, I want to just say, guys, obviously we reckon that the challenger is going to be either Nepo or Anish. And I've got to say, this tournament, these two players are deserving challengers. I mean, if you look at those line scores, what Anish has achieved in the last, I don't know, 10 rounds or so has been fantastic. And Nepo has played great chess too. So whoever emerges as the challenger is going to be a very deserving one for sure.
Right. They both only lost 1 game, right?
Right.
Nepo lost to Maxime in round 7.
Round 7.
Anish hasn't had anybody taste his blood since round 1.
Yeah.
And it's not just
right.
And it's not just been that. It's not like they've been gifted anything. They've earned it. Look at those line. Look at that line score.
This one here is tremendous from round 6.
Wow.
You play like this from round 6. Is that slow start, the loss and 4 draws in a row. But from round 6, 4 wins out of 7. That's a boss tournament.
That's getting it done.
That's like, hello, I'm trying to win this thing. And he might have another win in him to come. So a tremendous event. Nobody's going to be talking about Anish Giri, draw master, after the way he's played the first third of this year. Without any question, he's showing that he plans to be a contender for years to come. And Nepo, you see the loss in the middle, but his line score is even better. 5 wins here with the 1 sandwich loss in the middle in round 7. An absolutely spectacular tournament, no question about it. This is the line score of a challenger. This is when you look at it, you say, this is supposed to be the guy who does it all. And look at this number, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5, and then a 9. This is what it normally takes to win a candidate. This is what it's taken to win the last 4 candidates. Nepo right now, with a victory in this round, will go +5 which will give him, is it 9 points?
Yeah, he'll jump up from 8 to 9. Yeah.
He'd have 9 with a round to spare. He could have the best candidates result in the last 5, and that's saying something when you see the players who have actually been celebrated on that list, and it's just incredible.
Yeah,
I think an amazing performance by both players. You can't be extremely surprised when you think top players in the world. You think easily Jan Nepomniachtchi, Anish Giri, and the ratings have been reflecting it. They're currently the number 3 and 4 players in the world, right behind Fabiano Caruana and Magnus Carlsen. And they've been consistent. And this is something you need for these tournaments. Anish hasn't lost since round 1. Nepo lost that one game against MVL a year ago. But in this second half, he's shown up. He's not been in trouble. It's not like it's not like he's been gifted these points, right? You could say that MVL was gifted half a point by Ding Liren because that position was so overwhelming.
So
but when was Nepo ever in trouble in the second half? When was Anish honestly really in trouble in this or the last half? I would say Anish could even have scored more if you think that the absolutely winning game that he had against Fabiano Caruana in the first half, that Slav in which he was just crushing his opponent and let him go. I mean, little things like that might come back to haunt them, but they've shown by far the best chess of the event. It's not just the points that they got.
Two very, very deserving challengers.
And I think that Anish, I didn't check, but I think with his victory, both of them must have jumped. Oh, look at this. Nepo is at 2797.3 on the live rating list. A win.
Just one from 2,800, huh?
One win. If he beats Maxime today, he's at 2,800.
But will he be the 15th or 16th?
I'm not sure which number he becomes, but he crosses 2,800 for the first time, and we'll say, well, we got two 2,800s playing for the world title. That's what we want to see. Anish Giri is at 2791.5. He's gained 15 and a half rating points. 15 and a half rating points in 5 rounds.
Right.
That's like, are you serious? Tremendous jump from where he was. He surpassed Ding Liren, who's now the number 5 player in the world. And Grishuk, Aronian is at 2781. Grishuk at 2770. I'm just going down the list. Where's Maxime is at number 15 now in the world, having dropped a number of points. And he's dropped below players like Rapport. Firouzja is the young Firouzja, number 12, ahead of Maxime Dominguez Perez. I mean, Maxime, we know, elite top 10 player, having a disastrous tournament here and just shedding rating points. And
it's a combination, right? Because he has a bad tournament here. He just comes from a bad tournament in Vaikense. So
exactly, just losing points.
Yeah, he's dropping points kind of left and right in the last couple months.
So the deserving players, guys, it's very clear. It's either Nepo or Anish. Nobody's going to complain if either one makes it.
Absolutely. And just taking a gander at the game between Kirill and Ding Liren, because Ding Liren, I mean, underperformed his ratings for this candidates, that's for sure. And Ding has just sacrificed it. It's one of these Joko piano positions where black gets in the move d5 and white plays e4 takes d5, and white tries to say this pawn on e5 is weaker than this pawn on d3. And when we were coming on air, I kind of felt the position was actually balanced when we got here. And these last few moves, I'm thinking, hey, man, I just snacked a pawn. Where is the compensation? So clear the cobwebs for me, guys. Where do you think the compensation is after, for example, a move like, well, double the rooks on the e-file?
I'm assuming knight c3 was not playable, right?
On the last turn?
Yeah.
Knight takes c3. Okay, pause for just a second. So this guy is hanging. And bishop d4 is, I guess, the main point.
Yeah, it's the main point. I'm not too happy if I have to play bishop takes e6, f takes e6. but maybe I'm okay with that. The difference, of course, the point is that bishop d4 kind of skewers everybody on that diagonal, right?
Everybody, kind of. Everybody. But the queen is geometrically poised to be ready for this, but this bishop c4 does uncover an attack.
The question is, can I just take on e6 first, and somehow the queen does defend everybody?
Including the f2 pawn, by the way.
Including the f2 pawn, right?
So in this position, there's no
trickeries,
rook.
Right?
Yes, exactly. The rook doesn't get...
All right, but let's continue. Queen c3.
I'm sorry. Could we have started with bishop takes on f2 instead?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Rook takes e5, knight takes c3, bishop takes e6, f takes e6, queen takes c3, bishop takes f2.
So that's one pawn and a tempo.
Yeah, you have to go to e2 to cover d4. If you go to e4, have bishop d4. But here after knight e2, I was kind of hoping that I have rook takes d3 and
Why don't you?
something hangs. I don't know. It is a piece, though.
What do you mean? That looks like a great idea. Bishop to g3 check is coming.
Right.
Oh, you're guarding your rook now, but boy, this looks like you're hanging on by a thread because g2 could hang. Okay, what if I check you? What happens here?
Well, for the moment, I've got two pieces for. Well, I'm a piece up for the moment, but if you take on e5, I'll have two pieces for an exchange.
No, you're pinned. I'm not going to take yet. I don't need to take. Let me play rook d2.
Rook to d2.
My threat is to take on e2.
Exactly. And this.
Rook g1.
This.
Okay, so you have rook c. Well, what if I play rook d5 now? You can play bishop d6.
Yeah, rook d5, bishop d6 holds
Dirty
everything.
Dog. Or even bishop back. And if I play rook, and if I play rook to
nah,
rook to e2, you play bishop. Rook to e2, you play bishop d6 anyway.
Yep. Or rook c5.
Yeah, I count me in on rook c5. I like that one.
Man, this barely held on. So close, but can we go back? I love these tactics.
Well, I'm sure they are, but I'm just saying that I mean that's back there. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on this position. I just wanted to get to the current position, and I just wanted to ask you guys. I guess you're looking at the same knight c3, bishop f2. You need to do something like that to justify your position, right? Or
yeah, I don't quite see it. The compensation, I mean.
I don't either. That was why I was asking. So you guys think that the move c7, c6 by Ding Laren was probably
no, I don't know. I mean, knight takes c3 might not work, right? It's a lot of variations to be considered, and we haven't made it work.
I mean, this is tricky business too. By the way,
it's tricky. It's tricky.
The bishop landing on c7 with an h5 potential push is going to cause some consternation on the g3 square. So
maybe you just go like that: rook a1, bishop c7 immediately. You say, "Where's the rook going?" I assume it goes back to e2. Does it go back to e2? I always have knight f4 though. Not right now, maybe, but at some point. Maybe I start with h5.
And h5. What do you do? You don't want to play h4. H4 allows actually.
No, I don't want to play h4. Probably I'd just drop back with my king, invite you to win your pawn back. Bishop takes g3, f takes g3.
Well, wait. I might take the pawn back, or I might play h4.
Knight comes to f4, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I changed my mind because I didn't realize how strong h5 was. Maybe bishop c7 is really annoying.
Yeah, and everybody's lined up. That bishop is. Remember when it was on d4, it was lining up against everybody.
Right.
Now on c7, it's lining up against everybody.
Like what?
That bishop on a3 is the culprit, by the way. It's not doing anything over there, just biting on air.
Open diagonal, yeah.
Yeah, and the bishop on c7 is, I mean, just a beast. That bishop is amazing.
And let's take a look. We're being told that there's a couple of updates in the Nepomniachtchi. He took with the f pawn. Wait,
wow.
What? F takes g3.
G3.
Looks like an open file. Seems reasonable.
Really?
G3.
It goes against all my chess principles.
Exactly. I always let you capture towards the center so you could go f4 and queen c3. Looked logical to me. This recapture is a little confusing. Well, come on, guys. That's really confusing.
That's really confusing. F-file, no F-file. What? HG F4 is kind of the plan, right?
Yep. Right. Queen to C3, C5, F4.
Maybe he thought
open the center.
Maybe he thought he was executing C5 anyway, and he was going to get everything on the queen side, and so he wanted an extra file for everything he's going to do. But C5 came screeching back at him, and it looks like he's taken on C5, and we'd say BC5 is forced.
Is it?
Well,
knight takes C5, rook takes B6 looks brutal. No, I wouldn't want.
No, I think you have to take with the knight
because B takes C5.
There's nothing specifically wrong with B takes C5, but I think you're trying to win as Maxime, and you want to get this knight into the game and hope there's a tactic here.
But wouldn't you just play knight B4, rook A2, and some chances? Why'd go down a pawn? You say hope have a tactic.
Well, just a second. Yeah, well, indeed. Let him tell us. Where's your tactic?
I'm hoping for something, but let me find it.
I thought you had something in mind. Rook F8 would be sweet.
That's a good shot.
Rook F8.
But there's a rook F1.
Rook F1, rook A1 is too much, right? Nah, even I don't believe in that. All right. Queen G5, maybe? Rook F1, Queen G5.
You know what's running about?
I'm going to try.
Okay, all right, there you go. So you're hanging the D6 knight.
That's fine.
Because of what?
Because Queen E3 picks up your knight.
That was the only reason. Okay.
That was a good reason, though.
That's a very good reason. I don't want to see Queen E3 landing on my doorstep. Okay. Now you got Rook A. He's got Rook A2 ideas. He's not giving it up yet. He's got
a piece. Rook 8. Well, Knight F3 is coming with tempo.
Knight F3 will be a tempo. All
right, but the Queen on C3 allows Knight A4, right?
Jadubski, you're right. Knight A4 is a nasty, nasty fork. Okay, that wasn't part of the, consolidate program. Okay.
I gotta say, if I see Queen G5,
I'm warming up. I mean, you're in there with a shout.
Yeah. I still don't really know if my threats are decisive, but I have a threat, which is more than I could ask for like 2 moves ago.
Rook F3 here.
I know.
Rook F3, maybe a strong move.
Let me just take this guy for just a second. Let me just see if I can just say, okay.
But can I throw in the check? No, I cannot, right? No, I can if I want to.
Seriously? What?
Yeah, I think I can because Queen E3 check, Rook F2, Knight D3 hits both rooks.
Wow. That is a
finish
visual.
the line, please. Queen takes knight.
Queen takes knight. Queen takes
Rook
queen.
Takes D6.
Rook Queen takes knight.
Rook takes D7.
Yeah, maybe that's too many pieces.
That's a lot of pieces.
I got bishop F1 at the end. So
yeah, you're gonna consolidate.
Oh,
that's very unfortunate.
But you were on a roll there. Knight D3 really looked good.
I gotta try.
It was down a rook, so we're gonna go in that line.
Maybe Rook F8, Rook F8, Knight F3, then then I take on E4.
Right. Then that's a much better breakdown, right? Here I could knight.
Whoa! That's sexy. Knight F4.
like something is really weird. I mean, when did pieces stop counting as pieces? I mean,
that
we're just
nice.
throwing
Knight
it.
F4 is nice. Yeah,
that's crazy.
We're throwing pieces around like I'm glad they're not ours. This
is an insane line.
Very
it is
nice move.
So controversial moment for our audience as we, that is to say, Maurice and I were just thinking, well, B takes C5, not going down a pawn and jumping with the knight to B4 is a logic. But Alejandro saying, takes, let's try to get some real threats going.
I feel
knockout style threats. with queen g5 and queen e3. Big moment. And by the way, again, I just don't like the way Nepo has played his last, I'm going to say, 5-6 moves. It seems like he's let some of his advantage slip. By the way, a game we haven't seen. Let's just give a salute to these two players, Wang Hao and Fabiano. This was a very quiet Sicilian, guys, that somehow got completely balanced. If you said this came out of a French exchange variation, I would believe you. And is there much we can say about this position?
Thank you for showing us this game, Yasser. So in the Nepo game.
I guess that answered that one. The Nepo game is much more, yes.
By the way, I was intrigued by your capture, Alejandro, because those tactics just look so fierce. And I just turned on the engine to take a look. And take a look at this line. The engine says this is slightly worse for black based on this idea. Rook f8.
Yep.
Rook to f1.
Yeah.
And black actually has the extraordinary, and this is so, okay, I'm talking, but Nepo just played an insane move. We're going to have to get back to that. Let's just show this variation very quickly. Queen to d8. Talk about tricky dicky.
Nobody sees that move.
Rook takes d6. Rook takes f8, f1. Cleaned up that little exchange. And you take back. And now queen c7. Can you say your rook is going nowhere? What is that?
That's
White
nice.
has to bail with rook takes on d7.
That's a hard move to find.
Insane tactical idea. Absolutely insane.
Guys, I think there's been a glitch on the board. I can't believe.
No glitches. He took
Jan played rook b5.
But the move played in the game is rook to, I mean, rook b6 looks like a move, but rook b5? Is that real?
That's
what
what
I was
saying.
shocked.
Well, what are you guys looking at? The game is knight takes c5, rook b6.
I'm sorry. Once again, Alejandro?
Our feed right now has the pawn taking on c5 and rook b5. That's what our feed is showing right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe. I think there's been a mouse slip.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong with this.
Something's wrong. I can't believe rook b5.
No.
It's just a terrible.
No. Knight c5, rook b6, queen d8 is the game.
Knight? Okay, then we've got the wrong feed over there. Knight c5, rook b6, queen David 8.
As Maurice had said, but he didn't throw in the move rook f8. He didn't throw in the move rook f8. I don't know if it makes a big difference. Actually, I would prefer to throw in the move rook f8, but
I think it might, because you kind of like to see that rook on d1 being pushed over to f1. But okay, this is the current position. Holy smokes.
But what a great find there by Maxime, this idea of queen d8. I was so focused on making threats with queen g5 and stuff like that, and you guys just refuted all of them. Queen d8, remaneuvering the queen, taking advantage of the dark squares. We got a game in our hands. I mean, it's a pawn. I'd rather be white, but
yeah,
you have to be worried about that king, right? Rook
I would not rather be white. I'm going to tell you right now. Wow. Well, first of all, because I don't care about pawns. I'm not like,
but Yasser's there.
Yasser would not let me in the building at all. Actually, he would, in order to try to indoctrinate me into the error of my ways. But the thing is, with white, the only thing you can say right now about white's position, very clean thing you can say, is that white is ahead a pawn, right?
Because also that bishop on b7.
That bishop on b7 is really.
B7
it's so lame.
I'm not really talking about black yet. Can we leave black alone for a second? Let's not punch. The black be the punching bag just yet.
Right.
I'm just talking about the activity of white's pieces.
The knights do not impress.
The knights are not impressive. The bishop and knight on d2 are both, and the queen as well, are both busy holding down this pawn. The c4 pawn. Later, I will attack you with a bishop, make that wake up. The c4 pawn could be something you need to defend. And your rook on b6, your upper pawn, you might be able to do something. But when you look at black's pieces, suddenly blockading knights, what more could you ask for? Tag teaming on pawns, that's good as well. There's an open file potential, and queen g5 will return. It's not in the position at the moment, but it will return. And the rook on the A file, will it go to A3 to stop? I don't know where it'll go. I'm making stuff up there. But there is something you can start to look at in Black's.
I think if the computer gave this as a decisive advantage for White, you still take Black as a winning
Practical.
try.
Exactly.
If you want to try to win this is a great position.
To win, you suddenly have a chance to make get the guy uncomfortable. I just sacked a pawn in your face, not the kind of pawn where you say, oh, I'm just going to refute this. This is over. This is done. I just sacked a pawn and said, I got some comp. You want to be the challenger? Shut everything down. I would tell you, Maxime loves being Black here. Nepo loves being Black here. This is Nepo's kind of chess. Geary would say, you know what? I'm White in this position all day. You're dead in the water. How dare you sack against me? Did you see what I did to Ding Loren when he tried that nonsense? Nepo is not the same kind of personality. And I would also say, as he doubles rooks on the B line, I would also say I'm intrigued because Nepo's clock time is also reflecting a little something, right? And this competitor is the worst one Nepo could have asked for in a big time game. Only one win, 6 losses, more losses than draws in 11 games. Wow. Do we ever see that at the high level? Ever?
Very rare. Very
rare. We're seeing it here. So Maxime's starting to feel a little MVL trickery, dangerous times right now. And he just played calmly Queen C7.
Well, you had to defend the knight, and I totally get the temptation of this knight on C5 goes somewhere, and Queen C5 comes as a decisive threat, right? I mean,
something like Rook A3, Knight D3, Queen C5 would be very, very suggestive if we could get all of those moves in. Right now, White has some issues. What is he going to do? Yeah, I was about to say the knight that bothers me the most. I'm not unhappy, terribly unhappy about the knight on D2. It balances out with the knight on D6. The knight tension that I don't like is the ones between the C5 and E2 knight. He did play the move knight C3.
Knight C3 rerouting because I don't think the knight's going to stay on C3. It's not doing much. I can't play knight B5 because my rook's always hanging. I guess the knight... Do you think it wants to trade itself for... No, but I would have played knight C1 then, right? Not knight C3. I was trying to go to D3.
Right. That was a consideration, trading for that knight. But the problem is replacing the knight by a knight trade with a queen captures. Yeah. That's not really that attractive either. But knight C3, that makes... For me, I find that move to be very logical. Question is, can I get away with some variation like this? What do you think about this? I mean, we looked a moment ago. I really didn't want to see that queen showing up on, my front doorstep there. But should I be trying to trade? I don't know. Rook A3.
What about what I mentioned before, the bishop moving? I mean, I see your line, but I want to move my bishop off of B7, put it on A6.
Yeah, I agree with A6. Finally, this bishop's doing something.
Why is it working at all? Like, bishop is working. The C pawn just got undefended because the knight went to C3. So Queen was guarding it. Now it's no longer guarding it. You don't have knight B5, as we mentioned. How do you... I mean, am I really threatening this pawn? I don't really know. I want to take it, but yeah.
I'm not sure.
I could take with the bishop. No?
I'm not sure you are threatening.
No, if I take with the bishop, you have rook takes... Now bishop D3.
There might be some, ideas of D6 and knight. I don't know. This is a
Maxime played the move rook F8, which I think is very logical.
Not with your king on H1, Yas, because there I could take your rook maybe.
And I have a back rank issue. By the way, after knight C3, rook.
Without bishop A6.
Yes, exactly. Without the move bishop A6.
It looks very logical.
Yes, logical.
You've been trying to put it there for a while.
Well, ever since he put it on E8, I was trying to get him to go back.
And you know what I like? You know what I like about this? I'm getting more excited. the absence of black pieces, they migrate to dark squares. The two knights on dark, that bishop on G2, the move E4 was hyper solid, but taking on G3, you guys didn't like. I'm warming to the strategic minuses, big time of that. When he took back with the F pawn and not the H pawn to keep more control of the
way,
dark squares.
I'm getting more and more upset about F2 takes G3. That was just like, that's opening up the front door, right?
And this whole game,
weakens E3. You want to play F4 as your counterplay, but we think that the move F2 takes G3 just, well, that
maybe a
just
strategic howler. And the whole position from this moment, Queen D8, a fantastic move. Queen D8, seeing the trap of the rook, followed by, he might have thought he was pinning that knight, and all of a sudden Queen D8 shows up, and he's not pinning the knight. And that move, Queen D8, followed by Queen C7 and Rook F8, and the full migration of the black pieces to the dark squares. His next stop is what to do with the rook on A8. Will it be A3, as you mentioned, Yaz? And then even with the king on a dark square on G7. Full migration to the dark squares, it feels strategically wholesome. A great pawn sack for the dynamism in the position. It is clear Maxime is hunting and trying to hope that his opponent will feel the pressure of the moment. And look at, I want to say it again, the clock times. Nepo is a fast player.
Very
he had an advantage from the beginning of the game. He was dominating the beginning of the game. Right now, he's only 2 minutes ahead and change on the clock on Maxime in an unclear position with 14 moves to go against an opponent that has had his number. No other way to put it. Will he crack under the pressure? I'm saying all that. White's up a pawn. What does White do right now?
What is White's plan here? Is it to just not get mated? Is it just to...
Well, I've been thinking about, like this knight on E2. It went to C3, but it's not like it's wholesome on the C3 square. And yeah, knight E2 to where? I mean, give me a plan. I mean, if I go back right here, I was actually thinking that, well, my king could be, go king H1, knight F1, knight F3, put my knight on a decent square where I know that it's hitting something.
Was this also just a solid? I mean, knight just went from, it was on C3. It went back to E2. It went to C3. I should say, it was on C3 and went to E2, went back to C3, right? It's got the 3-step going. And now is it going to go back to E2? What's this knight doing? It's just moving around, almost purposeless. And all of White's pieces now, you're up a pawn, but you're defending. You take black in this position all day.
I think so.
A compensation type player. And if you're playing for a potential win. And that bishop, the only piece that is relegated to light squares, I'm seeing A6 for it. That's going to be a useful square. And all White is doing right now is holding down the fort. Matter of fact, I'm going to argue this. What if black does nothing and says, would you like a draw, right? What is White's actual sequence of moves? Give White 3 moves. What does White do?
Well, again, I come to this knight on C3 and I say, I need it to perform. Frankly, I want it to be on a better circuit. So I play knight D1 to F2 to G4. I need some purposefulness for my pieces. And by the way, I'm starting to worry about even ideas like knight A4 and queen C5 check. It's weird. I don't like what Nepo has done. And as we've been mentioning, Nepo, a very, very fast player, is taking his time as he's facing some, well, challenging problems. Knight C3
Black has great compensation, guys. And
I don't like this. I don't like what White has done.
There's even a straightforward attack on the C pawn, right? Bishop A6, rook C8. Hiding that attack. You're going to have to defend forever. You don't have any pawn breaks. You have no pawn breaks and no easy way to suggest trades. Your bishop, and by the way, don't make any old trades because your bishop on G2, it ain't exactly a superstar.
No, it's not.
You can try to move it around. I can't even find a single square for it on the board. Where would you put the
other
bishop?
than H3?
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
You got H3. Where? So, and now what? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not. Where do we put the pieces?
It doesn't have a plan for improvement. Let's take a quick look at that game.
I was about to say, just to drop in and see how we've had some changes. When we left it, we just saw the move rook b5, maybe gift me the pawn on e5, and Anish said, "You want it? You can have it." And h4 and f3 instead. Okay.
Very solid approach by Chris.
I was about to say, as Anish, I feel deflated when I see moves like h4 and f3. F3 is rock solid. It's basically saying, look, I may blunder a fork, I may blunder something, but I am keeping my structure. And as long as I keep my structure, well, there'll be a weakness over here. Rook b1 will eventually show up. Hard work for Anish to
a loss loses complete. But does he have to win it if because you
not if Nepo decides that, not if MVL decides that he's ready to play another one of those games of his life, as we saw in the Sinkfield Cup, the last round. You mentioned it on the previous broadcast that in the last round, MVL, to win the Sinkfield Cup, to have one of the greatest results of his career, needed to win against Nepo, and he played a gem of a game as white and won against Nepo. And that game with the white pieces. But as we're looking at Nepo's, there you see it, rook b2, a kind of indication that, well, there's no more forward in the position.
Maybe it's time to look for that knight b5 trade. Start trading some pieces, right?
Right.
Get rid of the blockade.
Maybe if I can get knight b5 and even c4 takes b5, which would of course block my rooks on the b file, but in that case, at least the knight on c will have a c4 square. So, we knew he needed to do something. He did it.
You're going to play knight b5. I'm playing bishop a6. I just want you to play. Please play knight b5 because I want to kill that. And I want to put a queen on b6. And I'm almost done completing the dark. Play rook a3, I think. You want to play rook f2. Even that's saucier. I've completed the migration to the dark squares.
You're playing checkers.
That's right. And now you better watch out. I mean, you got your passed pawn.
But is it? I hear you, Maurice. I think that Black is looking at a better position now than he, since the start of the game. But still, I mean, there is this move, queen c3, and
okay. So I suggested rook a3. I hadn't seen queen f2. I mean rook f2. Right. Sorry, rook a3 instead seems more circumspect, guarding the squares. And maybe I'll play rook e3. He has played bishop a6.
Bishop a6 screams to be played, right?
E2. Rook e in that line, yes. Rook e3 with the threat of rook e3, king h1, rook a3, and you can't. The key is that you cannot play rook to b3 right now. I want to play rook e3 and truly harass you. Oh wait a minute. Oh, knight d3. I mean, what is that? Knight d3 is a threat.
This sucks for white. Are you kidding me? Look at that bishop on g2. I don't even want to look at that position anymore.
On g2. That's terrible. E4. It grabbed space a long time ago, but by taking with the f pawn, e4, and a combination of taking with the f pawn, and he's played knight to d1.
Yeah,
knight to d1. The move you had suggested earlier, Yaz. Get that knight somewhere. Full retreat mode for white right now.
Yeah, again, there's been some challenges that white's had to face. This rook on b6, it did win a pawn, but it was hoping for something more than just grabbing the pawn and retreating. At the time that he played rook b6, there was a pin on the 6th rank, and, well, MVL dealt with that. And now, well, again, the knight needs a role. So, okay, I'm going to applaud this line of play by Nepo and say, okay, I agree. I'm in retreat, but I got a pawn. And do you have a killer move, more importantly?
How do you coordinate?
Most importantly,
pieces?
can you, that's what I was going to say. Can you find a way to continue the pressure, keep building?
Right.
And maybe
like something like just rook f6, rook over, queen a7.
Your queen c3 bothers me, though. Your queen c3 is a move I'm worried about.
Well, at the moment, I mean, it does
allow knight a4, right?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Be careful. There's a pawn already in the pocket, so if you like,
yeah,
but it's the dark squares. The thing about it is not so much that I win the exchange, but you go knight a4, queen takes e5. I still have queen c5 intermediate. Why would I take immediately?
Yeah.
Don't do that. That might hurt me. But I go queen c5 check. I take away your d4 square. I go rook e8, and things are not looking very pretty for this queen.
That's a nice little variation. Like that.
That's a visual.
That's a nice one. Okay, that's defending because queen g5 is forced.
Right, and now I can consider to actually, take on b2, maybe play queen d4.
Right, who's taking?
Yeah. Right, there's a big difference, right? That exchange compared to the last one.
Huge, well played, well played. Great variation. Okay, so rook f6 is a thought.
Yeah, rook f6 is
with doubling.
Basically, a very decent idea.
Queen a7 is sleeping in the position, is lurking.
Yeah, yeah.
With some tacticos. Hello.
Tacticos.
I don't see any killing blow, so just improve your position, right?
Yep. That's what I'm thinking. You just
okay. So let's imagine I go king here. Let's imagine you go rook f8, and let's imagine I go rook here. So I've got the business squares covered by my knights. And
what's your next move?
Maybe queen c3 and queen e3, or maybe, and I know it's a little bit of a reach, but knight e3, knight g4. But okay, I'm going to say queen c3 is my next move. So far, I've got all the business squares covered.
It's kind of weird, but this rooks, they don't do much.
Yeah,
I would like to just sack it, like rook f2 or something, but it's too much.
Right. Did we misplay it for black?
Looks that way.
Played...
Yeah, maybe this rook doubling is more tempting than it is good.
Right, because you have no entry points. Maybe you need to play rook c8 and go after the c pawn. Please keep an eye on it.
No, I don't want to do that.
I don't.
You're trying to win.
Say
I guess the truth is you're trying to win the game as opposed to getting back to equality. So
right.
I get it.
Anything too critical? I mean, I think MVL's, but rook a3 prior to play bishop a6 made more sense to me. I like that knight d3.
But rook a3, knight b5 was an issue, right?
Hold on. We're not thinking the right way. The knight was on c3.
Yeah, you take with the pawn, right? Because here I have knight c4 next move.
Knight c4 next move. Oof. I don't know. Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Could we go? Yeah. The knight just left c3. Hold on.
Bishop.
Okay.
Rook f8. Rook b2. Bishop went to a6. Knight went to d1. This is the current position. Maurice, sorry. What would you like?
No, I wanted the tactic. I was ghosting because the bishop was on b7, so I wanted to play knight a4. But the bishop just went to a6.
Exactly.
So knight was on.
It feels we need to improve our position. I just don't know what I want to improve here.
Exactly. The rook went to f8 with purpose, and we understood that. We were thinking it could go to double. Can we take a move out of Anish's playbook? Something like a5 to spice up the king side.
I like that idea. Comes with weaknesses.
The problem with spicing up the king side that I see with the move h5 in particular is that I weaken g5, and if white plays h4, they weaken g4. But I always have a light squared bishop, and you're not getting anything to g4 anytime soon. So did I really gain anything with h5, h4? Or on the contrary, did white gain something?
Well, it's all based on, I mean, a moment ago, I would have been very reluctant to play to h4 if the rook had landed, but you're right. The inclusion of these two moves may be favorable for white because...
Hold your horses. Now my knight can go to, you asked, and maybe the knight can go to the g4 square with a knight e8 maneuver.
You know what I'd do if I were black here? And again, I'm talking about bridge burning and the whole enchilada,
the whole shabam,
right?
yeah.
The whole shabam. Now I'm posting up.
Oh my goodness.
Now I'm
three pawns down, but going all in.
Going all in. All in.
I was thinking more like Steinitz, knight e8, knight f6 type chess. The knight gets off of d6 and goes to find some activity on this square, and then put my queen on a7 and ask you what the heck you're doing. But that's the positional route. I like you're playing like Tom.
No, I'm going to go check in at some institute down the street because I'm going to say that Maurice Ashley
MVL's move
invaded my mind.
I would have never thought of.
I thought of it momentarily, but I didn't think it made any sense at all to try to win with.
What? B8?
Offering trades. That's astonishing.
B8.
What if I trade everything and go queen b2?
Wow.
That's just
I thought
that is unbelievable. That's a sigh of relief.
Black was looking for compensatsi, but after queen b2, hey guys, I'll take white.
That's astonishing what just happened.
I'm a pawn up in an ending.
I'm not saying I'm going to win this endgame all the time, but
I'll
win it sometimes.
This is a dream for.
What do you even play? You have to take, right? No, I guess you can go. No, queen e8. No, queen e8, queen b6 is horrible.
Oh, that's just embarrassing. I mean, you just left your whole minor pieces on.
But what else can you play?
This is I don't understand what this is unbelievable what just happened. MVL just played rook to b8. That's unbelievable. That I'm going to say that's not really the move. Is it really the move? Please tell me it's not really the move. That's unbelievable.
Maybe it was rook c8.
Rook c8, yes. Rook b8. I refuse to believe MVL played rook b8.
Wow.
I refuse. That move is that there's no tactical trick not taking that rook back. So you have to take the rook back. Right. There's no tactical trick. I refuse to believe rook b8 is the move. Somebody tell me that's not
the
move.
You take and go queen b2, right?
Yep.
Right. Instantly.
That's pretty straightforward.
Instantly gift me the pawn.
The only move here is knight db7.
What?
Knight David b7. So
I don't want to trade.
Defend.
Only way.
Like that's the engine move? Knight db7 is the engine move?
No. It's my move. It's my move.
He's saying I can't trade queens.
You can't. You trade queens. You have no. If you want to draw, trade queen.
But knight db7. I don't understand. Knight db7, queen b6. When are you going to move again?
No, I can move my queen.
That queen is
my queen. Yeah, at least my queen is free. I mean, I don't know where it's going. But,
congratulations.
But you're.
I'm not a big fan of Black's play.
And he's trading, and he is trading on B. This is unbelievable. The move rook b8 is simply unbelievable. It's like double question mark in this situation.
Yeah, I would have definitely.
And he's going for it. I can't believe it. It actually was played. Jan has now played queen b2. This is a travesty. This was.
I'm so confused.
I am so confused. If I'm thinking I'm black and like draw just kills my tournament, forget about it. It's do or die. I go all in. I'm playing h5. I'm not trading pieces while I'm a pawn down.
I mean, it's the same for Maxime to lose or to draw. It's the exact same, right?
Right.
Yes.
So h5. Yeah. I mean. Okay, I might go down in a blaze of glory, but it's going to be a blaze of glory. I'm going to make my opponent sweat things out after rook f4. I promise you, this has some serious play. But rook b8 is almost like giving it up. It just says
absolute capitulation.
Yeah,
you maybe hold, but when do you ever win this?
You never win.
Never, ever.
You never, ever, ever win. There's just
sure. You've got a great blockade. You put your king on f6. I'll go king to e3.
This is horrible. That was
strange.
No,
play.
I mean, no.
And Anish Giri is probably wondering, what? Dude, I was hoping that you were going to give him a scare. Let me check out Anish Giri, because we have, after the move, well, f3, we saw knight d7, shades of Anish versus Fabi, by the way, as Anish likes planting knights on the e5
So he's
square.
going into that endgame. He took on b2.
You mean Maxime?
Yeah.
Maxime. Like, I just can't get this out of my head. Like, what?
What would attract you? What on earth would attract you to this ending?
I really don't think you lose it all the time. But,
and that's really the best you can say.
That's a great
hey
point.
guys, I got good news. You know, like when I get into the ending upon down, I don't always lose.
What?
That's good news.
By the way, isn't White sort of kind of threatening to bring his king to b4?
What do you mean, sort of, kind of? You go,
sort of, kind of, absolutely. Why not?
It just wins. I get my king to b4. I just win.
I mean,
you resign.
This is. I'm as a commentator, yes. As a fan, as a player, just as a competitor, I am stunned, mortified that he actually played this way. There is just there's no way in that position. We go back and you say, which move do you play? That you play rook to b8, trade off all the rooks, give him queen b2, trade off queens, be down a pawn in an endgame where, your knights are blockading and you hope you save the position. But you need to win the game. It's your only chance. And the worst part is you actually have chances.
Right.
Is in there, dark square control. This is MVL's type of position.
Like,
for him to actually do that is stunning.
Like, really, we were looking at ideas of, excuse me, I just want to show the folks ideas that we were kind of looking at. I mean, this is just one indication of how things could go horribly wrong for White, provided that there were queens still on the board, that there were rooks on the board, that there were pieces. I mean, we saw not necessarily ghosts of threats, but yeah, there were some real threats. Get your knight to d3. And the fact that the pieces, White's pieces had been coming backwards. The rook came back to b2, the knight went from e2 to d1, and it was probably heading to e3. And then suddenly, MBL gave Nepo a clear path of what he needed to do. Trade everything off the board, and I think Maurice,
I'm literally physically in pain.
That the king is going to come to b4.
It's hard for me right now. It really is. It's not. I don't have a dog in the fight. Of course, we want it to be an interesting tournament. If MVL had won, it would have been interesting. He was far from winning. Far from winning.
Of course,
it was interesting.
Of course.
It was going to be interesting as a viewer, as a fan, as a commentator, as a player, to watch how a great player tries to make something of a position that there was some compensation, but glory to potentially be had by putting pressure on his opponent, giving his opponent a scare, giving him some stress. He just played rook back to b2, knight to d1. He's thinking, oh man, I let this go. I had this dominant position and I let it go, and now the guy's trying to hunt me down. And then rook b8 appears on the board, and if you're White, you're Nepo, you go,
wow, thank you.
I can trade everything off and play queen b2. I can never lose that. What's going on?
And you win sometimes. It's not even that perhaps the tournament dictated that Nepo must win and he can't really go for it because you don't make progress. You have chances. You have real chances to win this for White.
Of course, you're pawn up. Why not? And I liked your idea of just beelining a route with your king to the b4 square. Once your king gets to b4, then you can start figuring out how you're going to make a knight trade to make
you'll
further
think
progress. And
knight b3, knight d3. You lift the blockade on c5.
Right. Play bishop to f1. Maybe bishop will poke its head out to the h3 diagonal as soon as the pawn gets to d6. As soon as the pawn gets to d6, poking the bishop here to stop it, a knight d7. Yeah, you start to warm up to the task, but it's a 2-result game.
This just
Always.
literally, if there was a teddy bear that had the word draw on it, Maxime, and there's one that says win and one that says draw, and Maxime said, "Give me the draw one." I'm embracing the idea of the draw. Burn the other one. I want the draw. Let's see if I can even get it. By the way, who says he's going to get it? We're all agreeing you may not get it at all, sir. I don't know what you think you're doing.
All right, but let's take a look.
Fully
Maxime, though.
The draw. That's just like unbelievable.
I just can't explain it.
We're all confused. By the way, it looks to my eyes that Sasha's definitely the one pushing here. Obviously, all we need to do is get to the d5 square with the knight. There's just one small possibility of black playing f5, but don't I just love white's position here?
But what was the problem with just playing rook db5, rook b d5 immediately? I'm just wondering how you defend this pawn.
No problem at all. I was wanting to put the knight there, but rook boy d5, yeah.
I mean, I'll go queen d2 next move. So Grishuk starts with knight e3, which I like. It's a very flexible move. You don't know if you want the knight on d5, you want the rook on d5. It's always useful to make this moves that, the knight has to go to e3, make that move first, the more professional approach.
The only thing I have to
right now.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say to that, knight e3 is f5, not the move that I'm happy with. I'm just thinking, this is really weak. Like, I've got really active pieces. I do like your move, rook b5. I've got really active rook. This rook is passive. This knight, once it gets to the d5 square, it's huge. So he just played knight e3. Okay, advantage Grishuk, no question.
All day. A win by Grishuk and the tournament's over.
I think you play f5 and pray. You don't even calculate it.
Exactly.
Because what else do you do if this doesn't work?
Exactly.
And this might not work. But if f5 doesn't work, what is your move?
Yeah, I'm seeing the rook slide across the board with the idea of f5. So maybe I can do that in a nicer way. So I want to allow this move. What can I do? What do you guys reckon is
I mean, rook b d5 always looks strong. I like queen b2, honestly. I didn't see what was wrong with that.
Nothing is wrong. And you like the move f4 as well, right?
f4 looks great. I'm taking on b6. I'm threatening f5. I'm threatening rook g5. I'm threatening knight d5. Do I need more?
The knight on e3 is tremendous. By the way,
Anisha's knight e7.
E7.
Knight e7?
That's grovel.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
The ticket is
an
being
indication.
Bought right now to Dubai.
This is the worst position that Anish has had since his first round loss. So this is the worst position.
How do you defend this pawn if I just attack it with queen b2?
Exactly.
Please do not tell me it's knight c8.
No. Knight c8, knight d5. I'm already signing the score sheets. The strategic domination of these two pieces versus those two pieces is overwhelming. So no, knight c8. No, that looks terrible. Again,
knight e7.
If I don't play
when you play the move knight e7, when you put a knight anywhere, as we know, anytime you put your knight on a square, you must know where it's going to end up. Right? Is it the square it's on or some future square?
Mm-hmm.
The knight on e7, it's stopping knight d5. That's what I want to see. Actually, it's not totally stopping knight d5. It's prepared to trade itself off for anything that lands if a knight lands on d5. But that's what you want if you are white in this position, is for the knight to make a move where it's got no hope, no future, no nothing. Meantime, all your pieces are growing, and black has two clear weaknesses on b6 and d6. I'm going to say it again. A draw by Anish right now would be a miracle. Right. But if he loses,
it's over.
The tournament is over. A loss by Anish, and that's it.
And we do have certain moves. Strangely enough, bishop to f1. I thought that white's king was going to make a beeline to the b4 square. Instead, he's put his king on e3. I don't know. I guess I would have put my bishop on h3, a move return to go, and I would have angled for the b4 square. Okay, if MVL makes a draw, kudos, right?
Kudos, really?
I mean, well done. I mean, like what? I really don't get it. I saw a strategic howler the other day that Grishuk took on e5 against Dingler and d4 takes e5, followed by knight on e2 to d4, and the Chinese player just, I mean, it was over. It was lights out. A strategic howler. For me, rook b8, I don't even consider that a strategic howler or a tactical howler. It's just a terrible move. It's like, it's just bad. And this, I can't explain it. Bishop e2, by the way, on the board now. Well, a strange tournament, gentlemen. I mean, a strange twist in a remarkable tournament, I want to say.
Yeah, it's a little deflating, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
We're as players watching, we would argue we wanted to see, even for Nepo's sake, not that he needs any help, not that he to deserve anything. Sure. He deserves the victory in this tournament. He's played wonderful chess from beginning to end. Geary played the better second half so far. Geary right now is in deep trouble, so that could be question mark. And it may be that it was Nepo who played the better first half and the better second half and deserves 100% to win this event. We're not saying anything about that. But we did want to see him pick up the gauntlet with the pressure of the moment when Maxime had given him a scare, for him to say, you know what, I can handle this scare as well. Because I'm going to tell you something. After the move, knight to d1, the way the game has gone so far, bishop a6, knight d1, one Magnus Carlsen is never going to play rook b8. No. Never. And if he has this situation where there's momentum going against him in a world championship match, facing off against the best player on the planet, I will tell you, Magnus is not putting the rook on b8. He's just not. He's like, He might play the h5 move, as you mentioned, Yaz. He'll put a rook somewhere else. He's not playing rook b8 and defending some godforsaken ending. That's not going to happen. He's going to start looking and cooking and seeing what he could do, but not rook b8. So you want a real test of what the heat's going to be like in the World Championship match when a guy sacks a pawn for compensation. This rook b8 was not it. And it's a shame that MVL decided to shut things down here and not play, because again, let's say he lost the game, guys. Who cares? Like, nobody cares. Everybody would have said the guy went for it. He lost the game. Who cares? That doesn't affect a few rating points, affects nothing. But if he wins, if he had won the game,
tournament.
He could actually still would stand a chance with a victory to win $1 million. That's the loser's purse to going to the championship.
World Championship, yeah.
$1 million on the line, and you decide, I'm going to trade pieces off.
So strange. Out of all the blunders that we've seen this tournament, this is the strangest. It's not even a blunder.
It's not even. Yeah, it's just one of those kind of.
Sometimes you just have a brain freeze where, afterwards, somebody asks you, why did you do that? And you go, I really don't know. I mean,
it's so
I just
inconsistent with how he started this game. He started this game with, let's play something probably not good, very risky, strategically bad. Let's just get into one of these positions where there's a lot of pieces. Hopefully we get something out of it. I'll manage from a worse position. And
he did a great job too.
And he did a great job. He got a worse position, but then he brought it back.
He achieved the bad position.
The worst position.
Yeah.
And let's take a look at what happens if Nepo. What do you mean if Nepo wins? Nepo wins, it's over. Let's take a look. What do we have here?
We're being told that
that's Magnus next.
Yep.
Oh. Look at their head-to-head. That's who else has nobody has a record like this against Magnus. What are you kidding me? 4 wins, 6 draws, all day, every day. That's an amazing stat.
It has been a while since Nepo beat Carlsen in classical chess, right?
Was it from junior days or what happened?
I think 2011, if I can say, in Sicilian.
Was his last?
I think so. Maybe it was 2012.
That said, Alejandro, it's been never since Magnus beat him twice.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're going to say trickiest opponent from Magnus, we're going to go down the whole list. Toughest
the top
opponent,
10,
toughest
20.
opponent is clearly Fabi. Toughest, real dog head to head. But trickiest opponent, this guy has shown himself to be unorthodox in his style and kind of, you know what he likes to do against Magnus? He likes to play the way MVL played in this game. He likes to mix it up, create some odd looking chances, bizarre looking kind of game, play quickly, confuse the world champion. And we've seen Magnus sometimes get befuddled in positions against Nepo. Nepo does have that little quirky style. Sometimes stylistic differences matter more than strength. And you might be not as strong as somebody else, but you might be the one person, I don't like playing that guy. He does some weird stuff that I don't understand. And I know we all have players like that. I don't like that. Every time I play this guy, it's annoying. This is what Nepo brings to the table. And I think everybody's going to bill it as, can Magnus defeat a player who has a massive score against him, a pretty good score against him in the past?
Guys, we got to go to the Geary game. F5 on the board saying, look, I have to win.
No choice.
But F5 out of all the times that he could have played F5, why now? It's not even pinned. I could take on F5. What is the point of this?
He's doing it at the worst possible moment. Now, of course, you can't take with the knight because, oops, that just invites the queen to land on G5. It means that he has to take with the pawn, which is strategically lost. I mean, look what you've just done to your structure. I mean, here I've got the feeling that knight D5 should just clinch the game.
I don't even want to trade off my knight for your knight. I'd like to enjoy this position a little bit longer.
I'm enjoying plenty. Don't you worry about that.
I'm enjoying this a lot, Maurice. I mean, this is like, tell you something.
I'm cleaning up the board, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything.
I can take on H5 with check.
I get you. This is not worth. This is over.
It's just over, right?
A Geary loss is a Geary loss. The only thing we would say is Nepo doesn't clinch it with a Geary loss,
so long as he doesn't lose.
Unless, because if MVL wins, Nepo would have to collapse again, and MVL would have to win again. So there is a mathematical chance, but seriously, where we are right now, given the position that Nepo has in his game against Maxime, a Geary loss that's the end of this case. And
queen D6 play.
By the way, queen takes D6. A move
just by the way, who was defending that pawn, right?
I didn't even realize the pawn was hanging. It's so bad.
It's resigning.
Oh my God! But he's losing B6 too.
Queen takes d6.
He just
Knight
played
c6 has been played, by the way.
C6. The knight used to be on c6, so we're seeing a little hippity hop of this knight, and that's all. He's in a, what I would say, he's in a daze right now. Is Geary? He's stunned.
Yep.
He can't believe it.
Yeah.
He never got a chance. He never woke up in this game. He never woke up.
This was really bad. But guys, I mean, Queen d6, Knight c6, the guy kicks a little bit, but he takes f5. What? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at he takes f5, and there's just no kicking. It's like done.
But Queen d6 is kicking. What's your definition of kicking?
Queen d6, Knight c6 is, well, okay. I'm threatening to take.
I will make a simple question.
Please.
Maybe it's not so simple now that I see it, but can I take on f5?
Okay.
Have I made you somehow?
Probably.
I have the feeling I do, right?
If you, yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
sorry,
Queen
that
d3.
clears the cobwebs. The only thing I was reluctant about was Queen takes e3, but I'm not even reluctant once I see check and that this knight is hanging as well. It was like,
I still have a little bit of work to do because the rook's hanging, but I think Queen g6. I guess you have to go to f8. F6 is what I wanted to play.
Oh my God.
And rook. Okay, maybe this is not.
I'm sorry, rook h5.
Rook h5, I have Queen e2.
King h3.
And Queen e6, g4, I cry. Yep, I mean, all right. Yeah. I believe myself.
Nicely done, Alejandro.
Thank you.
Together, we could all do it. But yeah, okay. In that case, yeah, Queen d6 and ef5 kills. I just thought ef5, and I just didn't see. I mean, again, I guess it's just stylistic, but I think that this would have been. Yeah, I think that's just both so winning. Would have continued after he sees this, because the knight comes to f4, the rook goes to d. It's enough. It's enough.
No, it reminds us. Yes, it reminds us, and everybody should note. There used to be a time when players would say, "Best move, play the best move,
play the best move." Yeah, that was what we grew up with. Yeah,
that's what we grew up with.
Yeah,
this is one significant change because of engines. That we've seen more and more that there can just be moves that are a difference between 6.8 and 4.3. Who cares what the best move is?
4.3 is good enough for me.
4.3. 6.8 might require you to realize that there's a queen sack at the end of it that you had better notice, or else your 6.8 has just turned into a triple zeros or even a loss. While the 4.3 is lights out, no calculation, nothing to look at, it's over. And in fact, one of the ways that cheat detection technology works is when a player plays a line that is the 6.8 variation, which requires some kind of spectacular reverse moves followed by the queen sack with a zigzag maneuver and then a zugzwang at the end. I mean, you're like, what is that just happened? And that was what the player played in like 5 seconds. That was their move. And you go, check his pockets, boss chair in effect, please. When the variation that existed was, trade off the queens. You're up a pawn. You're threatening to take another one. The person's going to resign right now. All right. And Queen d6. Yeah, you could have. You're right. Yes, you could have done the f5 capture, of course. Grishik said, "I could just take on d6 and take on f5, and he can resign." This is horrible.
He's done it. He's done exactly that on the board,
crushing. And I will point out, by the way, Grishuk, this is a minor point, but a good point indeed, because it will be mentioned in the Russian newspapers. I'm just going to predict it now. For Grishchuk, a Russian, to take down the main rival of Nepo, a fellow Russian, knocking him out, people say, did a good favor. His teammate, his Olympic teammate, maybe
Druk.
Not his Drug, but
newfound Druk, yeah?
This is homie.
New best friends forever.
You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. I'm going to take care of this guy for you, okay? I'm going to knock him out, and you just hold down the fort. You make a nichia, It's cool. It's good. Draw is no problem because I'll get it done on the other board and everybody will say, bravo, bravissimo. It's all day. Grishchuk getting the job done. So big time win. And in a way where we did not suspect Anish would have this kind of horrible, just absolute collapse in a critical game for him. He's got to just be completely frustrated. You want to try to win with black.
Wow.
But you want to at least be able to try to win with black. And Grishchuk made no such thing happen. In fact, Geary didn't even play risky chess to get this position. Maxime played risky chess to get a potential position. Geary played solidly and got nothing, and got worse than nothing now, and now it's about to lose.
Well, after yesterday, where Anish played the day before, where he played such a marvelous game against Fabiano, you just go, wow, the guy's a chess genius. And then today, forcibly reminds me of my favorite quote by Viswanathan Anand when asked by an Indian journalist, what was it like? What is it like to be the world chess champion? Anand famously responded, well, every day I feel like a sportsman. Some days I feel like a scientist, other days I feel like an artist, and some days I feel like an idiot. I mean, yesterday Anish played fantastic. I mean, just a marvelous, marvelous game, almost a flawless game, if you will. And then today he feels like an idiot. I mean, he's just not, it's not been his day. By the way, we do have G takes F5. Inviting Rook takes F5. I mean, Knight takes F5.
Knight takes F5
virtually everything.
Queen takes E6,
win.
Followed by Knight takes F5.
It's I feel like calculating, right?
Whatever you want to do, you could do. This is done. This is multiple best moves once again. Multiple choices. Which one do you feel like? Which fits your style the best? It's on you because you're about to be up 2 pawns. The other player has 0 compensation. There will be no attacking chances. It's just
what
whose king
my
is
style.
more exposed.
What fits my particular style best would be Queen
and
E6.
Nepo is doing what I expected him to do. The moment you see how clear Geary's position is, he has offered or started to offer a repetition.
Very smart.
Why not? Why win this game? You're up a pawn. Why try to even break through? Don't break through. What's black going to do?
Right. These knights are picture perfect. Yeah, it looks like $1
million minimum in his bank account. Nepo can count on. It's a 2 million euro purse. 800,000 euros going to the winner. Last time I checked the currency exchange, it was something like $950,000 for the loser of the Dubai match.
Right.
Amazing.
Amazing accomplishment for Nepo. Highlight of his career.
Absolutely. No question about it. Queen takes E6. What can I say? That's the cleanest in my way of thinking. And Knight takes F5. God, some days you just feel like you shouldn't have gotten out of bed. For Anish, it's tragic because, by the way, he was putting together just fantastic candidates.
Over. Nepo has drawn Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, which means that as soon as Anish Geary resigns, and we expect that any moment, we will have officially a challenger to Magnus Carlsen, as it'll be the Russian Jan Nepomniachtchi that plays in Dubai against the world champion for all the marbles.
No matter what happens in this game, it's over.
I mean, this is too far gone.
I should say no matter what happens tomorrow is what I really mean.
No matter what happens tomorrow, that's right.
This game is toast. We would need to see him get fancy, like Rook takes E5 right now.
Probably
winning. And maybe
that bad.
Maybe even that, but no, you don't want to do that. But there's just no, isn't Rook to E1 here.
Maurice,
Stop the clock.
let it go. It's done. You can choose any move. It doesn't matter. Rook D6, Rook E1, C5, Knight D4. They all win.
What do you do?
We always joke in the open tournaments, like the moment, you're the guy losing, it just feels like everybody in the tournament hall is coming over to look at your game and going, can he play Rook E1? I don't know. Maybe he could play Rook D6. I don't know. Maybe C5. You hear all of these whispers. Get the hell out of here.
The worst part is, even if Grishuk draws the game, somehow, by some miracle, Anish figures out how to draw, the tournament's still over, isn't it? Oh, no. In that case, it's still Dinglerin could upset the apple cart with a win against Kurylenko. That is true. Yeah. No, it does need a victory to clinch it, but the victory is a foregone conclusion at this point. He's played Rook to D6, challenging a so-called active piece, and
If Anish didn't need a draw to keep his chances afloat, he would have resigned in a normal tournament. Right. He's down 2 pawns. He's gonna be down a third soon. Yep. No counterplay to speak of.
Yeah, he would have resigned. He would have definitely resigned. This was just faceplant. Absolutely not what the doctor. And the thing is, he had such a great tournament. So it's
that's what I wanted to say.
By the way, he still is having a great tournament.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Wow.
He's got 3 wins and 1 loss in 6 games. That's a man who showed up to try to win the whole thing, right?
He did.
If you go 3 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws, that's a guy who's swinging. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. He was a point behind the leader coming into this event. I mean, look at this line score so far, and especially beginning in round 8. Draw, win, win. A loss, give him some more games, he might win some more. That's a brilliant line score, and you add another loss to that, does not diminish his accomplishment, but second place is not enough. It's the candidates, the challengers, all that counts. And by the way, I said $1 million prize fund, $1 million guaranteed. It is $1 million because $950K for the loser's money in Dubai, but he also wins a chunk of change. Did you figure out how much it was, Alejandro?
100.
So he wins another 100K to start
for this
here.
Event.
So this is his 100K plus his 950. So it's over $1 million guaranteed. This draw he makes and this win by Grishuk, it's $1 million plus that he's taking home guaranteed today. That's a heck.
That's nice.
That's a heck of a 7 round. That was a good weight, a nice weight. As it's just an amazing day for Jan Nepomniachtchi, one he'll never forget.
By the way, we've all played spoilers, the role of a spoiler. Today, I got to give Sasha a hat tip. I mean, he hasn't had a great tournament, but what we saw today was,
clean.
My goodness, a brilliant performance. I mean, he'll look at this game and he said, where have you been? Why didn't I play like that for the rest of the tournament? That was great. I mean, I played really well, Sasha will be saying to himself. I mean, he really did. He played a great game today.
I think Anish is just trying to see, is there a blunder?
It's time control. It's time. That's what it's all about. Knight C6 has
moved 35, and he's somehow hoping that there's some way. Remember, Petrosian famously left his queen hanging. I think it was against Bronstein.
Right.
Bronstein played the move knight f5, attacking a queen on d6. And Petrosian famously left the queen sitting on d6 and let Bronstein play knight takes d6. And he went,
oops. Yeah, it was one of those backward-looking moves.
What did I just do?
Yeah.
Well, knight c6 is one of those moves. Maybe he'll let me take on d4. Hope he doesn't see it somehow.
He saw it. He played the move rook d2, which is honestly not the most aggressive move, but
no, I was about to say I was thinking much more aggressive, knight h6, because you got a situation here where, I mean, and I'm just playing it very badly, by the way.
Very badly.
I'll take this knight off the board, and that h5 pawn is falling, and I thought knight h6 check was really strong. Rook d2. Okay, it doesn't matter. Of course it doesn't matter. But at these moments, you kind of want to be precise. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes more or less for Sasha. He's clean.
In these moments, you want to be precise. Yes. In these moments, you just want to get the time control.
Yeah,
exactly.
Moves, make move 40.
Make move 40 and say, okay, we're going to be on this one for another hour. Do you want me to show you my technique?
No,
all right,
no.
Let's see what you plan to do.
Don't. Go away. I don't want you. I don't want to see nothing.
And now he just played Rook D8.
Oh, what a sad move to play.
Is this? I don't understand. What's wrong with trading and taking on B6? Is that a bug?
I mean, Maurice, there was no way to hold the king side.
No.
I mean, he's trying to find a move for black.
But how do you make it? But he actually moved. That's my problem. What?
Everything that you moved hung a pawn, so you can't blame him for hanging a pawn. I mean, he hung one of many.
Stop it. Okay, man. Guys, this is bad. Okay, let's just go back to a check-in on.
Oh, this got some life. Did it?
Sure did. Somehow, I think Fabi made a little bit out of nothing. And by the way, Wang Hao, when he slipped and he lost that game to Nepo, I was thinking to myself, how did he lose that game? He'll be kicking himself forever. How did I lose that game? Well, something similar could be said about this game. I mean, did you see how dead this opening was? It was.
Yeah, it was very.
Guys, let's get back to the other game, please. We're going to be at this one for a while. Let's get the moment of resignation when it becomes official that Nepo is indeed the challenger. We're just waiting for Anish. It's a resignation watch. Basically, after Rook to D5, it's going to be a moment when we can announce it, that it happened, that it actually has occurred. And we have history in the making, a new challenger to the title. Magnus now and his team, they probably predicted it already, but they're all hands on deck. We've got a star Russian player to try to take down. Another one. Karyakin was his first, and now here comes Nepo. And you can bet all of the Russian teams will be ganging up to try to figure out how to take down Magnus.
By the way, guys, help me out here. I have it in my mind, maybe it was just when Magnus was still not quite yet the challenger. Didn't he have Nepo as his trainer?
No, he was already challenger.
We do have a couple of moves, guys. Rook took on D5 and C takes D5. It's a knight endgame, 2 pawns to the good, which we consider more than enough. But you know what? There is a little B5.
No, stop. Stop. No, I'm not going to let you finish that. I'm not going to let you finish that sentence. There is no B5, B4. Forget about it.
Followed by A4.
So many pawns for white.
Chase the A pawn down the board. There might be some trickery somehow. The guy might sleep on letting our pawns go far ahead. 95. I mean, come on, man. 95 on the board. That was move 39. Will he let you play A4 right now? Or does he even care? I mean, B4 that is, B5 that is. I was thinking white could just play A4, and now the B6 pawn you'll have to protect for the rest of your life, as 97, knight C8 would be a threat, and you'd be tied down, and white just needs one more, and knight D6 looks like a great move right now too, threatening F4. Okay, I know it's bad.
Maybe knight D6 immediately is the most clinical.
Yeah, knight D6 looks absolutely
done. Yeah, we got 4, knight C4, next
and
move,
it's on the board. Knight D6. He's made the 40th move. Is it right now that he resigns? Because now, I mean, it's definitive that the position's busted. But he's made move 40, and I would suspect this is the moment Anish can justifiably say, "I kept making moves because." But after this move, there's no because. There's just no because. A4 is threatened to freeze your pawn, and then he's ready to play. You can't even play king F8, A4, and you can't move your king to E7 because of knight C8. So you can't approach the knight. You literally just can't, and you can't move your knight. Actually, you have to move something. So what are you going to do? King F8, A4, and you're absolutely frozen.
It's
nothing to do.
You don't even have to play A4. I can just bring the king. I mean, A4 is nice because it solidifies the queen side, but you don't need it.
Right. But no, this is, 2 pawns for sure. By the way, if you don't mind, I know it's not for $1 million, and it's, just trying to get out of the basement.
It's for $5,000.
Really? How
That's the difference.
Oh, hey, listen, I mean, I fought a lot of open events that
for a lot less than that.
A lot less than that. $500. They got lop off a zero. And I remember quite a number of open tournaments had like that as a first prize. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4,
He
5,
did play
6.
King F8, by the way, in the game. Decided to just keep going a little bit longer. Only hope is some kind of ridiculous mind freeze on Grishik's part to make some blunder that allows a draw somehow, some way inside. Why resign now? Whatever happens, I'm still going home anyway. It doesn't matter. So let's keep making some moves. So there we go. But
nothing else to do.
Grishik now, with all the time in the world, Grishik could win this in less than a minute. If you gave him a minute on the clock, he could win this game.
No
but
question.
Unfortunately, he has an hour, so we have to sit here and follow Grishik's rule of, if I have time, I play. I play. Right. Let's go. I think. Not I play. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, we might as well take a look at the other games in that case. You were mentioning the Alexenko game where...
Alexenko, it's a pawn down, but this pawn is somehow...
Bishops.
Exactly how the pawn got all the way over here.
Curiously, there's no pawn on h5. I expected that pawn to reach h5
a long time ago,
quickly.
right?
Yeah.
When the king was... If you don't mind, by the way, let's go back to that moment when he did have... he had sacrificed the pawn. We were looking at something like rook a1 to e1, the lazy man's move, and allowing bishop c7 and h5, h4. And we started to think that Dinglerin was getting somewhere. Bishop takes d5 was Kirill's move, and he traded off some material, played c4, and he said, okay, I'm relatively safe. My king is. You haven't done too much. Well, first indications to my mind is that Kirill's playing a fine game.
Oh, didn't want to draw?
Didn't want to draw. Said, look, this is my maiden voyage. I don't know how many candidates I'm going to play in, but let me get as much experience as I can. And Ding said, okay, let's play.
Well,
rook d8.
it's a bit scary to play a move for white, though, because you could defend, I think, with queen e1, right? But
let me take a pawn.
Yeah, but then I go rook b1.
I understand, and you're going to go h4, and I'm going to go to stop you from playing h5, h4. Just in time.
Queen h6.
Queen h6.
That's
Queen h6.
Queen c1 is yummy.
Very much so. I thought I was wow.
Okay. He's played Queen e1 maybe because of this variation, actually.
Very good. I'm a card-carrying member of the Pawn Grubbers Society. So if I didn't look at Bishop A3 first, I might lose my chairmanship. Queen E1, okay, stopping rook check and that variation.
I guess rook D8 still, no?
Looks like a very good move. We might see a repetition after all with Queen E2 and rook B8. Okay, fair enough. Let's just jump to the Fabi game. Fabi, I mean, every time I look at it, I just feel like he's making incremental progress.
But
how significant is it? Sorry, Maurice. Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
2 moves. I just saw 2 moves get played in the other game, in the main
Which
game. Grishchuk versus Anish. King F2, King E7.
King F2
this is
idea.
His drawing attempt. What is
King E7?
Yeah, he's trying to say that knight would have to go all the way back to A4, and then I have knight C4 or something. I don't know. He didn't play knight C8. Interesting. He played knight B5,
taking the pawn. He just backed up, controlling everything on the queen side. Your king can never approach. I love the geometry of this. The knight and the pawn, king could never approach. And what do you? I mean, he's still making moves, but now the white king will appear on one of 3 squares in the middle, D4, E4, or even F4, depending on what the black knight does. And then G4 will happen. And I'm looking like a genius. I mean, I could beat anybody in the world. I mean,
let me in there. Let me in.
I could finish this for you, Grishchuk, if you want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I could work this out. King to F5, stopping the king from going to one of the top 2 squares candidate. No, not allowing G4 either, but Grishchuk said, just step back, get out of there. I'm playing King E4 in the next move after you step your king backwards. And when you see Sasha speeding up like this, you know, it's like
it's bad. It's really, really bad.
I'm going to make you resign now. No. I'll embarrass you. King back to F6, king to E4 now.
Yeah, king E4 looks
would just be
over.
What do you plan to do? And king E4 on the board. Now you've got to move your knight. Knight E8 check is a threat, winning the knight, or at least trading off knights. And where do you put your knight? D7, which is done.
It's just been so horrible. I mean, we've all been in Anisha's shoes. We just know the loss is inevitable. There's nothing we can do. But I'm sure he's just, going through the game, mentally, like, where did I mess it up? Where did I blunder?
And it's that feeling that it's over. The tournament's over. It really, it's so hard to play tomorrow.
Yeah, it's so impactful. King D4, by the way, is not bad. I mean, take your choice of victories, but yeah, it's bad.
I like
you gotta push these puppies at some point. Just go G4.
G4, yeah, go. Push him, baby. Yeah, G4.
What about knight C4?
Okay, again. Let's stop, guys. He's dead. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Look at the position.
The vultures are out.
Vultures are out. We want to see. What do you do about knight C? You know what I like about knight C4?
What do you like about knight C4?
Although there's what not to like about everything. The point is, after knight C4, knight C5 check.
Yeah.
The move king to E3 is one of those moves where you look at the position. You say, your knight can't attack my pawn on A3 or my king on E3 in 4 moves.
In 4 moves. Takes 4 moves.
So the king is in the perfect spot. The pawn is in the perfect spot. And in the meantime, look at my knight. It's like my knight's in the perfect spot. It's like, you can't script it any better. So yes, there are many ways to skin a cat here. It would be stylistic indeed. Anyone.
I think one of the things that I've always noted about grandmasters, not only do they play chess really, really well, but they're sadists.
That took a leap, right?
I would like to play king to D4, stopping knight C5, so that I could play knight. Alejandro, your turn. It's terrible. It is bad.
And king D4 played, actually.
Oh, king D4, stopping knight E5 because of a check. Stopping knight C5 because of check. So I dominate the knight. Later, I could play knight to C4. Your turn. Oh boy.
G4 is on tap, by the way. Finally.
G4.
So that's.
I think Alejandro. That was Alejandro's move.
Yeah.
We were resisting. We were resisting that move.
Enough of playing around.
Yes, we know you're a sadist, and we know you like pawns.
Yeah.
We also know one of your most famous words that I get quoted on my Twitch stream all the time when I say, I push the pass pawns, and then your face shows up somewhere in an emote,
baby.
And the words "push it, baby" comes right behind it. So G4 is coming.
We're being told that Gristruk has stepped away from the board. Geary, he's not thinking. He just played a move. So I assume that
King E7.
King E7.
I assume you get some tea, you get a cracker, enjoy your position.
What do you mean? You don't even get a biscuit for this. You just, they revoke your player's pass. It's like, it's going to be a bad day. Okay, very, very, very bad. Dinglerin.
He did play rook d8.
He did play rook
It does
d8.
seem that queen e2 rook b8 might still be some kind of repetition.
Right.
It does feel like black has enough for the pawn, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's that knight on G3 and that rook on F3.
Yeah.
Give me some of your thoughts on Kirill. Kirill, as we know, was invited as a wild card. The organizers nominated him. Kirill played really outstanding in the FIDE Open, nearly qualified directly himself. What's your take overall?
In my opinion, he showed that he can hang in certain positions. Yeah. He showed pretty good understanding in many, but it always felt that he was on the back foot, like you would expect from a player of his caliber. His only win against Gristruk. And the only time that he was pressing besides that, I think, was against Nepomniachtchi in the first half in that French, where he did have a win that was quite hidden. Wasn't able to find it. But the losses were too disastrous, in my opinion. Like his game against Nepo
was a real disaster. Yeah,
a complete disaster, right? Who else did he lose to recently? He lost to Favi, a position where, okay, you lose to Favi sometimes with the black pieces in a Caro-Kann, that tends to happen. Sure. But against Maxime, zero understanding, right? Like move 7.
Oh, that was also very bad. Very bad. Like Nepo, he just never got into that game at all.
Yeah, so I think he did fine. He didn't get squashed. He didn't lose every game. But it really highlighted that players reaching 2,800 are so much more complete than players that are 2,700 flat. You know, they know every opening, they know every idea. And you could see that Kirill got caught in a couple of ideas where he just didn't know what he was doing. And he lost a little too easily for a tournament of this level.
Mm-hmm.
That said,
Maurice, yeah.
That said, everything depends on how a young player reacts to losses.
Mm-hmm.
And your chance to play in one of the most important events in our game.
Exactly.
To fight the toughest of the tough, excluding one Magnus Carlsen, when players really, really wanted to beat you, and you were the weakest player in the field, the lowest rated, that's no question about it. I think he really showed heart. I think he showed heart. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but he's a young player.
Right.
Young player. So give him 4 years.
More seasoning,
Give him 4 years. He's tasted what it's like to be in the real hot-blooded mix. I think he could come out of this super motivated. He should come out of this super motivated to do better. Even someone, I would say, Anish, who's 26 now, not as young as he used to be, but Anish has been showing a surge in strength and ability. 26 years old. Give Anish 2 more candidates. Anish can say, okay, I didn't get there this time, but I'm highly motivated. I was really, really close. I'm highly motivated. So it's just on your attitude as you go in and how you play. So I think he'll learn from this and he'll come back stronger.
By the way, Queen C3, no repetitions for you. I'll defend the pawn on D3, and I will definitely.
And I really like that about Alexenko. He's the lowest rated player in the field, and there's been moments where the higher rated player says, let's make a draw. Let's just
make peace.
Position. Yeah. And Alexenko's like, no, I'm here to learn. I'm here to play chess.
Beautiful. Beautiful attitude.
I think that's what he needs to do. So there's a lot of improve for Alexenko to say he is one of the candidates, but he's gotten a taste he knows what he needs to do now, and he can go back home and say, all right, let's fix it, and let's try to qualify for the next cycle.
By the way, there's a lot of fixing needed.
Yes.
let's not make it seem like I'm just going to go home. It's going to be easy. There's a lot of fixing needed, and he's got to deal with other young monsters on their way. One, Alireza Firouzja comes to mind. It's not like, who's already basically there as well. He's number 12 in the world. So if he wants to be of the generation of young players, he's older than Firouzja by 4 or 5 years. And
sometimes we underestimate how hard it is to get into the candidates. You say you're top 10, you're in the candidate. No, excuse me, that's not how it works. You have to qualify, and there are some huge names that are not here. It's not because they didn't like them or they didn't got invited. No, they didn't qualify. That's what happened at the end of the day. We're talking about amazing names like Wesley So, like Sergei Karyakin. They just didn't make the tournament, and they tried. So there's a lot of fighting to be done just to get to this stage. Can Kirill do it again? He did show amazing performance there, as you mentioned, in the FIDE Grand Suisse and Isle of Man, same as Wang Hao. But can he keep it up? So many players, they say, I want to bide for the next one. You know, you can already kind of say some players will be seen in the next candidates. For example, either Nepomniachtchi or Carlsen will be at the next candidates. We know that one for sure. Fabi has a massive rating. It's hard to see him dropping that much rating in the next couple of years that he wouldn't really be there. But for the others, we know it's a grueling process.
Totally. Yeah. When I think about players like our very own Jeffrey Jean, a marvelous player, wonderful player, and really fighting to get into the world's top 50, and then, you know, what's coming next, getting in the world's top 10. No guarantees of getting into the candidates. Qualifying for the candidates is just tough. That's why it's the apex of our event. I'm just told that Fabi is, wow. I mean, that's a performance to bounce back after the previous day, where, you know, well, Anish just played a marvelous game, but I'm being told he's winning, that his advantage is huge. He's just played the move Bishop E4, and previously, did he really have to play King H1? That's a terrible sign.
No, the problem with King H1 is Bishop E4, you don't have Queen E1.
Because
if you take the moves back, right? If you just put the kings back on G1 and G7, he could have played Bishop E4 immediately, but it runs into Queen E1.
And there's a nasty pin. If you take, I'll trade the queens, I'll take the bishop, thank you very much, and we can have a handshake. So the immediate Bishop E4 would have been met by, and did Fabi say, okay, well, I'll play King G6 and you're in Zugzwang?
No, I just made a move, I think.
But that precipitated this lousy move.
King H1,
because now Bishop E4, and there's no Queen E1, as you were about to point out, Alejandro, because in this case, I turned the tables with the check.
But he just played D6.
Played D6, and I assume that you have to play Bishop C6, because otherwise, how do I?
We respect the pawn.
How do you defend this pawn?
Exactly. When you're having to defend the knight, something's dropping. If I go Queen A3 to defend both the knight and the pawn, oops, and that bishop is doing a great job suddenly.
Yeah, it's just
hey, Anish got to play B5. B5 is on the board. Danger, Will Robinson. B5. Chances. Counterplay. Maybe. There could be a B4 and an A4. Maybe. Not that it does anything. It looks like it does nothing. But he plays B5. It's on the board.
It's on the board.
Oh, my goodness.
Boy.
Good for him.
Well, yes, exactly. Very good for him. We would expect Knight C5, by the way, just to drive away this move. I just wanted to say, like a lot of players, when I was a junior player, when I was learning chess, I heard this blockade. Wow, I mean, like the masters and the experts in the Seattle area would talk about the blockading knight, for example, here. And I didn't really understand understand it. I really had to become a strong player to realize that what the blockading knight does in this case is it just kills these two pawns. It's like they exist on the board, but they're no longer relevant. And blockading pieces are really nice. In this case, get rid of the blockading knight, knight to c5, and the pathway to victory is secured with this move, knight to c5. Okay, Wang Hao. Now that I'm in a reflective mood, we've talked about Kirill. Wang Hao, he had moments.
Yep.
And it's official. Giri has resigned, guys. It is Jan Nepomniachtchi that will be going to face Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship match. Well, it's still months away, and it'll be a Russian back at the top level of chess. You know that they are going to prepare the heck out of that candidate.
Right.
They'll be facing against Magnus Carlsen and his team. Well, in Dubai, amazing performance by Jan Nepomniachtchi. You can see there the head-to-head so far, a difficult opponent traditionally for Magnus, even though Magnus has gotten the best of Jan in the rapid and blitz portions. They haven't played as much classical chess as you would expect players of this caliber to have faced each other.
Mm-hmm. I would have thought more contests for sure, but that 4 wins and 6 draws, 11 games and only lost once. I mean, wow. If I was Magnus Carlsen, I would say, well, that is probably the stickiest challenger you could have chosen for him.
And well, with that result, let's take a quick break as we will return with the rest of the games, as well as, of course, our predictions for what will happen in the World Championship match. We can start speculating about what's going to be going on there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're the Manos. Welcome to our show. Go, go, go. That's our show. Now go play yours at visitmo.com.
Welcome to the chess capital of the United States. The St. Louis Chess Campus, in the heart of the vibrant Central West End, has established itself as a premier global destination for chess and is comprised of 2 unique nonprofit institutions. The Chess Club and Scholastic Center of St. Louis is recognized as the top chess facility in the world and plays host to all major tournaments, including the U.S. Chess Championships and the Sinkfield Cup, one of the strongest chess tournaments globally. Tournaments are broadcast online to more than 150 countries, led by an expert commentary team of grandmasters. The Chess Club is an educational organization committed to promoting the game of chess, with a specific focus on bringing the benefits of chess to children throughout the St. Louis area. Research shows children who play chess exhibit improved analytical skills and increased confidence. The Chess Club is highly engaged with the local community, bringing scholastic chess programs to more than 100 schools, providing hundreds of classes each week. Directly across the street from the Chess Club is the World Chess Hall of Fame. This one-of-a-kind cultural institution invites visitors to experience chess in imaginative ways and is home to the U.S. and World Chess Halls of Fame. Cutting-edge exhibitions feature rare, historic chess artifacts paired with world-class art. Innovative programming explores the intersection of chess, art, and culture. Visitors can enjoy interactive programs designed around the exhibitions and monthly music in the galleries. The World Chess Hall of Fame is nothing you expect and everything you love. 3 different galleries and a premier gift shop highlight the culture, history, and creativity behind the game. Come visit, play chess, leave enriched. To learn more about the St. Louis Chess Campus, visit stlchesscampus.org.
Professional golf returns to St. Louis in 2021. The Ascension Charity Classic, presented by Emerson. Stars like Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, and more compete at Norwood Hills Country Club, September 6th through the 12th. Tickets, clubhouse passes, hospitality suites, and Pro-Am foursomes are on sale now. All proceeds go to North St. Louis County Charities. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com or call 314-938-2828. PGA Tour Golf is back in the Lou. The Ascension Charity Classic.
Welcome back to round 13 of the candidates. We still have a round 14 tomorrow, but the tournament is essentially over. As you can see there, it is Jan Nepomniachtchi, the FIDE candidate that has won the tournament, and he is the challenger to Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship title, a tournament to be held later this year in Dubai. Guys, a deserved spot there for Jan Nepomniachtchi. Great chess he has shown. He will be a worthy challenger to Magnus.
Yes, he will. And we've seen it because of their head-to-head matchups that he has defeated Magnus much more often than the world champions defeated him. Applause. But guys, before we do that applause, I just wanted to say, Fabiano, after suffering a real massive setback, has just won his game. A little solace there, Maurice?
No.
No, not at all.
Clearly not. Fabi doesn't care. He's won games before in his life. He's defeated players at this level before. That's not what counts. What counts is that he won that game on the same day that another player did what he did back 3 years ago, which was to win the candidates and have a chance to become the champion of the world. That is the only dream that matters to players of that level. You can say, Fabi, hey, you could win a Singfield Cup. I've done that twice. Oh, Fabi, you can win a Tata Steel. Done that. Fabi, babe, they're big tournaments. Norway did that. Fabi, what do you want to do in chess? I want to be the champion of the world. That's the only thing that matters when you're number two, is to become number one. He's done everything else. He cemented himself as one of the greatest players of this generation, and it's the chance to play for the World Championship title, which he will not get now for at least another 2 years, we are assuming, and that's what's on his mind. Will he be one of those one-offs? I got a chance once, never got a chance again. That's not a storyline he wants to hear about. He wants to know that he's trying to get the title. So he's got this game. Fabi will win many more games like it. He can show that he can bounce back, indeed. But it is Jan Nepomniachtchi who is the superstar of the moment. He is going to play for all the marbles. He can rest on his laurels for a couple of weeks, get all the interviews out the way. The Russian media will be all over him. All over him. He will be giving, he may not like it because, Jan is not exactly the guy who wants to be in front of the camera and answering questions, but he will be able to do so with a smile on his face and say, hey, this is the tournament that I came to play. And we have Fabiano Caruana waiting for us right now. Welcome, Fabi, from Yekaterinburg.
Thanks. Hi, guys.
Hi, Fabi.
I'm actually holding the laptop right now.
Why are you holding the laptop? Just put it down.
We could guess. You were moving.
Trying to give us some vertigo. Fabi, your thoughts on your tournament?
Yeah. I mean, it's not great. Yesterday was a really bad game. But to be fair, even if I had won that game, I really wouldn't have had a chance to fight for first. So yeah, I mean, Jan was kind of playing amazingly the whole event and ran away with it. So I guess, I mean, I didn't do my best, but it's a very well-deserved win for him.
Fabi, the game with Jan and Maxime, did you get a chance to look at that game and the move Rook A B8, which stunned us, needing to play for a win, and he played this move Rook A B8. What were your thoughts at that moment? Because we were just shocked that somebody trying to win would play such a move.
Actually, I was more amazed that he managed to make it so far in the game. I thought his position was like completely dead. It looked so bad, and then it looked like he had already coordinated his pieces, but I didn't actually see this moment because I was in my own time pressure. So I didn't see this moment.
Can you see our
But it's
screen
not-
now?
It's not like Black has so many ideas, I guess, because White is playing Queen C3 next. So maybe he didn't really see an easy move to play. I don't know. I mean, I guess you can play knight f7, but it doesn't look like Black can seriously play for a win here.
He did play Fabi. Everything came off, and they achieved an ending that only has 2 results, and that was why we were so stunned.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was also a real long shot for Maxime. He would basically have to win two games on demand and other results to go his way. So I think when he lost that game against Grishuk, that was pretty much the end of his chances to win the tournament.
Fabi, you have been here before as a candidate. What is going on in Nepo's mind right now? Like, what was that feeling, the immediate aftermath, when you realized you are the challenger? What is that exact moment like?
I mean, for me it was a bit different because for him it came a lot more smoothly, I think, and I had to play over a 6-hour game. So my main feeling was just tiredness at the end of that game when I won the candidates. But of course, there's an enormous amount of joy because it is pretty much almost the second to last step to the biggest goal for any chess player. I mean, of course, the last step is still the most difficult, but just to have a chance at that is a great feeling.
All right, tell us a bit about today's game. It seemed dull, but your head always in the game, and you found some chances almost out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, the opening was really sterile, but he kept moving his rook back and forth, and his knight back and forth. I was just kind of, I didn't understand what he was doing. It looked like he just wanted to wait for me to repeat moves and make a draw, but I kind of didn't want to end the game yet, because it looked like I was making a bit more progress than he was. And after knight a5, I thought, okay, I can't really be worse here. It should be a draw, but I thought it'll get concrete and maybe I'll get some chances, and that's sort of what happened. And then I don't know where exactly it went. It actually got worse for him because I assume this position is equal, and I thought it was basically equal, but then, yeah, maybe after bishop d5, maybe b5 is not great, or I don't know. It kind of slowly started to slip away, and after bishop g6, I already thought that I'm a tiny bit better, and then after bishop e4, I'm suddenly winning the final move of, yeah, I guess he can instead of king h1, he can play f3, and I think it should be a draw.
Right.
F3 is just very useful to kind of keep, first of all, not to lose the f2 pawn after queen e1, queen f2, and to also stop any sort of mating attacks with queen takes h3 and the bishop on the long diagonal. And after bishop e4, it's surprisingly just completely busted. It's very sudden and kind of a lucky tactic that I have here.
Did his resignation surprise you at all, Fabi?
I don't know. I mean, it's such torture to even continue making moves for white. Yeah, you play f3 and then I play queen to e or d3 or e5. One of these moves. Actually, I have many moves. I wasn't sure exactly which one I would make, but slowly Black wins this by first safeguarding the king, maybe putting the bishop on f7, king on g7, like stopping potential perpetuals. And actually, I don't know the winning plan, but I think a5 is also weak, so white will kind of be stretched thin with his defenses. But yeah, he can still fight on. That's true.
Bobby, you're, again, one of the few people on the planet who knows the pressure of playing for a world championship match, and also you're playing against this world champion, Magnus Carlsen. What do you think about the matchup? I actually have two questions. What do you think about the matchup, Nepo versus Magnus, given that Nepo's score is, in classical chess, 4 wins and only 1 loss against Magnus. That's the first part. And then the second part is, in the immediate aftermath, now it's time for the preparing for the guy. What did you have to do? What is it that Nepo is going to have to do as far as bringing all the resources to bear in order to make a real run at the title?
Well, yeah, now his preparation will begin, and he should form a team if he, I mean, I assume he might already have one, and beginning training, because it is a big difference from normal tournaments to play a match where you play the same player game after game, and very often the same openings are tried and tested. I mean, his score against Magnus is remarkable. I think he's the only one in the world with a score like that against Magnus. It shows that he is ready to try to win. I don't think it will really have much of an effect on the match. I mean, because a lot of these games are also ancient history. But it shows that he is very dangerous, even for Magnus. And but we kind of know that. Like, Jan has always been an incredibly dangerous player, incredibly strong, and just a bit unstable. And now it seems like he's become more stable, and that's why he's suddenly, winning tournaments and approaching 2,800, and why he won this tournament also. His stability was kind of amazing, at least in the second half. I kind of felt that he would come under pressure at some point, but it never really seemed like he was under noticeable pressure. His level never really dropped in this event. So yeah, I mean, Magnus should be considered a favorite, but I don't think it's by a huge margin, and I think it'll be a very tough match for him, for both of them, of course.
Fabi, if I could get in a quick question. Obviously, this tournament had a 1-year hiatus. You saw these 2 players in the lead, MVL, Nepo. You spent the entire year, and in round 8, you uncorked this enormous novelty. How hard had you worked for this year, and what was your mindset as you started the second half of this event?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had an uphill, a steep hill to climb. I was a point behind 2 players, which is quite a lot for 7 rounds, and also there were a lot of players who were in the tie with me. So yeah, I considered the first game against Maxime very important. Really prepared a lot for that game, and came with some serious prep. But that was unfortunately the end of the good news for me. After that game, my level just wasn't there. Some games were okay, but unremarkable, and at least one game was extremely poor, and this was a critical game. But even without this poor game, I just wasn't bringing wins to the table. I didn't expect that it would be so that I would have to win so many games, but as it turned out, I would have had to really go on a tear this half, and it never happened at all. So yeah, I think this hiatus was really, really important for Jan, and I think the reason is that he had lost the game against Maxime in the 7th round, and who knows how it would have turned out if we had continued from that point, because that's a difficult loss to recover from. But a year break was really, really important for his recovery. So yeah, this break turned out to be very good for him, and he was well prepared. He was ready. For the other players, it seemed like Maxime, unfortunately, came maybe bearing too much pressure, or something went wrong because he started to lose games, and very important ones.
Thank you for that insight. We were thrilled, let's put it bluntly, when you won the round 8, and we didn't quite put the champagne, in the ice bucket, but we were reaching there. But thank you for that, Fabi, and all great success in your future endeavors. I know this is painful because, as you were saying, I mean, it's about that opportunity to play for the World Championship, and disappointing.
Unfortunately, I didn't really deserve it this time.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Fabi. Good luck for the 14th and final round, and we'll look forward to seeing you when we get a chance.
Thanks, Yasser.
See you soon.
Cheers.
See you.
Bye.
All right, we still have a game going. It is between Kirill Alexenko and Ding Liren. We might as well jump into that as it still has quite a bit of action.
Yeah.
Ding Liren has sacrificed 2 pawns, and Kirill said, "Give them.
I'll take them."
Yep.
Me like, yes, indeed. Knight d4. That is, I don't know if this was a move that Ding Liren expected or not, but I mean, to my way of thinking, it's like the first move you think of. The rook and the bishop and the queen are all coordinating. So let me, number one, I'll take your rook off of the square, and number two, I'll hit the knight. Was Ding expecting that knight d4 was unplayable because of bishop e5? If he had expected it, guess what? Knight takes f5 with a fork, turns the tables. So knight d4, and well, Ding Liren's been in a tank.
Yeah. Well, he's only been thinking for 7 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm missing. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I would say it's a tank though, because you're down 2 pawns.
right.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, you're down 2 pawns, and the guy just dropped a move that maybe you thought he couldn't play. And if you're down 2 pawns, you should have a move right now.
Right.
I mean, you should. I have a move, right? I know what I was going to do about a knight centralizing and attacking my bishop directly. I did have a response for that. And if you don't have a response, then you start to feel a little bit of discomfort, no?
So what the problem with bishop e5, I assume, is queen a5, right? That doesn't work.
No, knight f5, as Yasser mentioned, also.
Oh, knight f5.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah. But if the bishop has to drop back to d7, well, I've got rook to e3 to stop bishop e5 to begin with. And there's another move. I mean, yeah, I have 1 pawn. I have 2 pawns. Can I have a 3rd pawn? I mean, it's getting very, very serious for the world's number 3 player here.
Well,
he's the number 5
now.
player.
No, I understand. I mean, but he started the event.
Devil's advocate there after bishop d7. I didn't particularly like rook e3 because of queen f6, unless I'm missing something.
Some issues with
and f2 hanging.
There's a pin. I see. Yes.
Queen f4 is also kind of coming.
Yeah. No, I wanted to just do everything in the nicest way that I could. Maybe in that case, my bishop. Where should my bishop be? Bishop to.
What a move by Ding Liren. Bishop e4. What? How's that work?
What? Huh?
What?
Wait, what?
What?
So
Wow.
I have to take. There's no choice, right? I resign if I don't take.
Okay, and queen takes, and
I'm throning.
Check.
No, I'm just throning the knight.
The knight.
Okay, I'm throning the knight. So if I go, I guess I have to defend it. Rook d3.
By the way, he's the number 4 player in the world because
Giri lost.
Because of Giri's loss. So he's at number 4. No real chance to catch Jan at number 3 anymore. But man, bishop to e4.
All right.
That was a visual. Yeah,
that was.
I was thinking about this whole time. No retreat.
Right. C5, I guess I just take. If I take on d4, you take with the rook.
You do have ideas of c5 and queen e5, maybe.
But I'll be down 2 pawns in many of these variations, right? Like, for example, if I go c5, bishop takes c5, queen e5. Yes, you win the bishop. Congrats. But knight f3, I think.
No, knight f3, queen takes c3.
Oh, knight f3, queen c3, and then rook d1. That's fine. Knight g1.
Oh, this is the
that's fine.
Jonathan Rowson versus Yermo move. Knight g1.
So that means queen e5 doesn't work. Because knight f3, my point was that is c5, bishop takes c5, queen e5. No, first c5.
Yes.
Yeah. You take, you fork, you go knight f3. But the point is that if you take on c5, yes, you got your piece back, but you're down 2 pawns.
No, you don't want this.
You don't want this. This is dead.
There's no interest in
it's dead, right?
No, thank you.
Right.
So rook d3 does look kind of forced.
looks boxy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bishop E5, queen. What else could he?
And bishop
do?
E5. It has to be bishop E5, right? Because queen F4, knight F3 leads nowhere.
There's no back rank, and I always have knight G1 as
Knight
you've
G1.
been pointing out. I mean, even if there was some.
Oh no, I thought rook D4, but rook D4, and you can't queen B1.
Yeah, rook D4, rook D4. Whoop. I've got that covered.
Yeah, you got that covered. So it's bishop E5, I guess. What else can you do? No, let's say bishop E5, I guess.
And if I just
bishop
you
C5,
attack me, I attack. I defend.
That looks very natural.
I'm a piece up here.
Wait, queen F4.
On?
Queen F4.
Queen. Thank you. With the threat of mate.
And then knight F3.
Knight F3.
It's our favorite move. Knight F3 always defends this, right? Oh
no!
I'm just giving up my queen. Now I'm giving up my queen.
Well, no. But maybe
it's not over, right?
Yeah, right. I mean,
bishop E3, sort of like, knight G5. Nah, I don't believe in this.
No, I don't either.
Here. Queen takes C4, and you only get a check.
It's kind of funny that the king is suddenly.
And bishop E5 is on the board.
All right, E5. Bishop E5. So let's see. Bishop C5, queen F4 is just that annoying. Fascinating.
Queen F.
It can't be worth a piece. No.
Why not?
Because it's a piece.
There is because it's a piece. There's sideline pieces. Your knight is pinned and your bishop is doing nothing, and it's just a direct attack. But there is king G1.
Like bishop C5, queen F4, king G1. Just say it's a piece.
And now you can chase and get the king to go all. There's still a pin that looks slightly annoying, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna last very long. But here comes a different problem. But this I can answer with rook E3.
Yeah, rook E3 looks sufficient. Let me see.
I could. The pin is on, right? So I could play check and take on G2. Now this is.
It's a piece.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. It's a piece.
No,
that's a real piece. Okay. So
no. This cannot be it, right?
Okay, so king G1.
King G1. Yeah. What's the problem with king G1?
Nothing. I was actually looking for something even more of a refutation. Probably G3 is ridiculous, and king G1 is the right move. So there you go, king G1.
Doesn't seem right.
Bishop C5.
Bishop C5.
We're gonna have to find out, guys. What's going on?
And by the way, I just saw the bar drop.
Really?
Precipitously.
What?
What are we missing? There's a move we're missing.
Bishop
before
C5
Bishop C5
we're missing a move.
Blunder, and we're missing something.
What?
Maybe
Here?
Bishop.
Yes, we're missing a move.
So it's what?
Could it be rook takes? No,
that doesn't work. I tried. Trust me, I tried. I'm all about tricks. After teaching the SLU chess team for as long as I have, all I see now is tricks.
That's one of the things that you just practice, like you're a drill sergeant. You will learn your tactics. Is that what good coaches do? Just
honestly, with my particular team,
we need.
They're just tricks. I try to teach them strategical play. All they are is tricks. No. They just want more tactics, huh? What?
Okay, well, this is it. Tactics, guys, come on.
Because rook B8, does rook B8, rook D1?
No, rook B8, rook D1, I don't see what that does.
I mean.
Hold on. Rook B8, rook D1.
Oh my God, rook B1. F4? How do you defend that?
Queen F4, rook B1, and if queen D2, this is impossible, but queen F4.
My queen
extraordinary.
F4. What a move.
Tacticos.
B8.
That's insane.
B8.
Leave the pin alone. Completely ignore the pin on the D line and play rook B8. Who defends the back rank? Rook D1's the only move. Queen cannot move because of queen E1 mate.
Or queen takes D3. Yeah,
I'm saying like queen C2, for example, is not possible.
Yeah, because
queen C1 hangs your rook. So you have to move your rook back. You can't move your knight because it's still pinned.
And then
so
you
rook D1,
rook
B1, straight back rank mating idea. That is unbelievable and beautiful. Now you have to defend this piece with the queen only way, the only move. And now queen f4, a mate and that's gorgeous. Hello.
That is
beautiful and forcing and
Alexenko.
amazing.
How is this a tactic?
Genius. Absolute genius. This is the Ding Liren that we expected to see play the whole candidates.
Wow. So this whole thing worked?
Extraordinary tactic.
This whole bishop e4 thing worked? That's amazing.
Skeptical.
That sequence. You still don't believe it.
Like even when you use this in your lessons with your SLU students, and you go, okay guys, why black to move and win, or what's black's best move? Even when you show them that bishop e4 works, you don't believe it.
They'll be asking for a new coach.
What? God, Alejandro, how could that work? What laws allow that to work? I guess he should have played bishop d2.
But then you have c5, right?
Okay, but
you're still up a pawn, but it's a blockaded pass.
Queen b1.
Do something weird.
And we play on, yeah.
C takes. Listen, you can play.
C takes d4, right?
You can play.
I don't know.
Queen
D2. I'm just making moves at this point. I mean, I'm just rock 'em, sock 'em. I feel Kirill's playing.
He's found it. Of course he found it. He's Ding Liren. He's Ding Liren.
He didn't find it. He knew it. He was calculating. That's what he was looking at. Rook b8. Astonishing win. This is
whoa. It's not a win yet, but I mean, I feel Kirill's pain. I mean, this young man, we were just kind of saying, his maiden voyage in the candidates, getting that experience, prepping him for future events.
Welcome to the candidates.
Like, oh my God, that is just
gorgeous.
All right, I am being told I am now cheating because sometimes I get text messages. I am being told that there was a win for Kirill. It was bishop b2, c5, and check this out, guys.
Bishop b2, c5, and
hold on.
Entertain us.
Win here.
Yes.
The queen is
knight moves.
96.
Knight moves?
Get the heck. 96 looks amazing.
No, it's not 96.
It's not 96?
No, it doesn't.
Because I thought bishop takes queen, you'd have.
No, but I take on d3, right? But if I take on d3, you take on e5.
Well, okay, but then I'm losing this knight. Was it?
Yeah.
So then it's knight f3.
It's knight f3.
It's knight f3 with the same idea.
The same idea.
It's knight f3 with the same idea. No more problems. Yep.
Oh, that's
quite honestly,
pretty.
even bishop c3 was winning at that point, right? But knight g5 just finishes.
Wow.
Yeah,
knight f3.
Okay, so bishop b2, and what would have happened after bishop b2?
No c5.
Then he cries, I think.
No,
oh my
could
goodness.
he?
That's crazy.
I mean, the bishop endgame is lost if you take on d4, right?
This is going to go under blunders and brilliancies.
Yeah.
This is going to go. There's one of my favorite books, and it's such one of my favorites that I had to make it a theme on my stream. Is the idea of blunders and brilliancies by Moss and Mo, or Mo and Moss. One of my favorite books, and the book is all about how one side plays a move that was a blunder, but potentially had a brilliancy they could have played. And what they ended up doing is overlooking a brilliancy of their opponent. And this is one of those. You could have played bishop b2 with the idea of knight f3, double exclam, and instead you play bishop c5 and rook b8, triple exclam, whoop, whoop, whoop. This is it. This is one for Mo and Moss, definitely. And by the way, that book is hard to get now. It's one of the best books I've ever seen. And the book is like minimum $100 some places
on eBay or whatever, right?
Oh man,
I remember
it's such
that
a great book.
There was some position I saw. It was like, let's say black had a bishop on d4, just for argument's sake, and a queen on d6, and somehow there was a pin, but there was this move like bishop d4 to g1.
You remember it exactly, and the game was actually with the queen on e5.
Okay.
And a rook on d7. So the bishop on d4 was being tortured by a knight on f5, queen on d3, rook on d2, or maybe d1. But the bishop on d4 is about to die.
Can't move.
The black queen is on it. The black queen is defending it. It can't move. And so he resigns in a moment when bishop g1, threatening queen h2 mate, and rook takes queen on d3. It uncovers the attacker on the d line. That's like the first position in the book.
Yeah.
Bishop G.
I remember that
I
as a
resigned, and he
kid.
plays Bishop. You could have played Bishop G1, dude. What? Huh?
Yeah,
What?
I
One of
remember
those.
that as a kid. I burst into laughter. I just thought, that is just so unfair. Chess is cruel.
And the book is full of those examples.
Oh, wow.
The book is full of them. You should have
what
played
fun.
this. You would have won. But you played that, and the guy sacks his queen, and you lost. Like,
What fun.
or you
Oh,
play a
and-
move. Oh, I'm winning now. You know,
And
then
this is...
and then the
this
guy
is-
plays a movie. You go, what? Like
This is
here,
right
he
out of
covers
the book.
everything possible with Bishop C5. What do you have? You got nothing. I got it all covered. And the guy moves away from the D line where there's another pin. This got this double sweep cross pinning action going on, right? And he leaves the file and takes over
Right.
another file. You're like, what's happening over there?
All right, you would think there's a defense, right?
There has to be, yes.
But I just-
exactly.
The best I can do so far, and I've looked at this position for like 5 minutes now, is Bishop B4.
Bishop
Wow.
B4. Okay.
That's a response.
I think it's the only way to keep material. It's a little
So
depressing, but it's not
the
super.
idea is maybe after C5.
I was
I'm
hoping,
just
I was hoping Queen E1 worked.
Queen E1. Another one of those oh my God moments.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then you
so
take, and I
took
go
the
knight
rook.
F5, like take on E5, take on, and they go knight F5, and I'm saying,
Whoa!
Well-
I'm in here with a chance.
I'm here with a chance, right? F6, I have
Right.
perpetual. I don't see how to
Right.
defend against mate.
That's impressive.
That's
Thank you.
nice.
I try.
So yeah, well, okay. So
Hold
Bishop
on.
B4.
Didn't I have
Oh,
Queen B1
please.
and Queen E5 there? Queen B2 there?
C5, Queen E1, Queen D3. What was that, Maurice? I'm sorry.
I just want to
Knight
know,
F5.
knight F5. I just want to try to defend. So knight F5, Queen B1.
But if you're not killing me, I'm not down that much material, right? I can play like Queen E8, take on
Exactly.
F7. I can take
Exactly.
on C5.
Oh,
I
whoa,
can,
whoa, 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 whoa! Just make your decision. Make one at a time, please. Queen on C5, maybe. If you take on F7, I will have Queen G3 check, Queen E5 check. If you play
Right.
Queen takes on F7, so this
This
one
for the-
maybe not the one you really want to claim.
Right.
You're going to be
even not,
fine.
even then, not the end of the world, right? I go G3.
It's
Not-
kind of
well, not-
close.
Not amazing, but
Well, you got to play B6 here.
Not amazing. No.
and a lot of B2, etc.
But that, okay. But at
Queen
least Bishop
C5
B4 is challenging. I mean, come on.
yeah, because Rook D1, Rook B1 just died.
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
unbelievable it dies
I'm
the
still-
way it dies.
I'm still in some kind of like,
Amazed.
is that
Yeah. What a
allowed? I
geometry.
mean, I'm a whole piece and a pawn to the good, right? And
With-
suddenly,
Yeah.
Let's see this Bishop
After.
B4 because Bishop B4, Rook
Okay.
B4 is also playable, but then the knight gets back to G1.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Take on B4, Queen takes D3, Knight F3. I think the only move. You check. I go Knight G1. I'm still depressed because you can take on F2, but
right?
this is the least bad I've found so far.
Wow, that white has
material
to
is
bail out into a bad position from being a whole piece up and saying you're getting ready to sign my score sheet.
It's got
That is a
position.
huge turnaround. Oh my word!
That position that there,
Bad.
that's critically, and that looks horrible. Material is equal, and the knight sitting on G1.
How bad, guys, is a position like this? I mean, I've got
No. Queen
Minor
E1.
Whoa,
Queen E1.
Queen E1.
Queen B3,
E1.
Queen E1.
No!
You're not getting out that easy.
I don't care about your
You're not
position.
getting out that easy.
That's the thing. I've been trying to make these things work, but they just die. It's like Rook D1, Rook B1, you resign. There's no moves there.
No, you're not.
Oh,
amazing.
This is ugly. Bishop B4 is a move. That's the real deal. Don't let
That
the rook in.
is-
But once the rook gets in, the lineup is vicious.
That's incredible. Oh, Queen E1.
But you know, now we can rationalize it after the fact. That is, this bishop on C5 is really doing nothing. Bishop E4 is insane and crazy, and I'm not going to try to rationalize it. You have to move your bishop. You found it one of the most remarkable moves I've ever seen. But this bishop on C5 is really out of the way and doing nothing. Right?
I agree.
It's
I
just
agree.
you can see that it's just doing zero, and so the fact that it's out of the way and the knight is pinned means that white is actually down two pieces temporarily,
But
dynamically. right? Dynamically, your bishop's doing nothing and your knight's doing nothing. They just can't move. So they're out of the game temporarily. So the fact that black overwhelms white on the dark squares is not really surprising to me if the bishop is sitting on c5.
But, you know, this tactic that we're seeing is gorgeous from both points of view. I mean, the bishop refuting bishop c5 is fantastic, but also, you know, refuting the whole concept with bishop b2 and knight f3
it's
is
a great
equally
puzzle.
Beautiful.
It's a great puzzle. You put it in front of a player, right? Choose between bishop c5 and bishop b2.
Right. One wins, one loses.
Which one is which?
Yeah.
Right.
And why?
Yeah,
it's
a tough
like
one.
if you find knight f3 and if you find rook b8 and rook b1, you know, okay, I got a student. This guy's good. Nice.
Bishop b2 is an amazing refutation to the idea.
And knight f3. Bishop b2 with the idea knight f3 is amazing refutation. Yeah.
Yeah. Shutting down the b file. I need to play bishop b2 to shut down the b file. What?
Who would have thunk that the b file was your problem? I mean,
gorgeous.
it was the pin that was the problem. No.
And by the way, a lot of people might be watching and saying, "But don't you win the rook on d3 with some chances?" And the answer is no, because 2 pieces for the piece is
not even
will overwhelm
at all,
and especially as you will lose this pawn. So it will be 3 versus 2 on the king side with a rook for the 2 pawns and a bishop and knight for the 3 pawns, and that will be all she wrote.
Play rook a3 here for me.
Mm-hmm.
And take. And rook c2.
I think I'm just going to win this guy. Maurice.
Yeah, this is easily winning.
Mm-hmm. And then takes in this position. So here a lot of students would absolutely say, well, this is not so bad.
It's bad.
It's
2 pieces.
It's really bad.
It's really, really, really bad. Oh my word! But
what a turnaround!
I'm still like in stunned puzzlement, amusement, shock. Actually, I'm curious. Wow,
Ding Liren is such an elite player, and I would say somebody who cares about the quality of his play, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some players who would get this win and say, "Hey, I got to win."
Nice. Right? Well, and it wasn't as pretty.
But there's some players like Ding Liren who'll say, we've seen him even win games. We've seen him actually win games that to us looked virtually flawless, and he'll downplay it. Well,
right.
you know, I got
a
lucky.
little unsatisfied.
Like, lucky? What do you mean? You creamed the guy. No, you know, I could have. He had this chance here. He could have maybe equalized. But Ding Liren cares about the quality of his moves. For him, it's not just I won the game. Good for me. I hustled the guy. He could have played the other line. Great, big deal. I somehow did it. No, he cares about the quality of his play. And I'm going to say, when somebody tells him that bishop b2 was on the board, if he doesn't realize it already, he's not going to be pleased with this victory. He's going to say, yes, I've been playing badly this whole tournament, and that was another circumstance where I made a mistake in calculation, and I could have and maybe should have lost the game. And he's going to go back home and say, I've got a lot to fix if I want to fight for the world championship title, which you can best believe is his aspiration. He'll say, I got a lot to fix.
Guys, I got a good question for you right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're at a casino or something like this, but you're black. You're 2 pawns down, and you can smell the bacon. It's your own. And then you see this move, bishop e4, and you think to yourself, that can't possibly work. And you see everything we've discussed. You see that after bishop e4, takes, rook here, bishop here, you win when the guy goes bishop c5, but you lose when the guy goes bishop b2. You're now back at this moment. Do you play bishop e4? Alejandro, yes or no?
A lot of that question has to be determined with the starting position, right? How bad is it if I just retreat my bishop? Because if it's bad, you just go bishop e4, you gamble, you say, well, whatever. But bishop d7 still gives quite a bit of compensation.
Maurice,
it's a tough one for me.
Your thoughts? Do you gamble? Do you say, oh, it's just too beautiful, I got to show the world what I was thinking, I got to play bishop e4?
I would never play bishop e4. If I saw bishop b2, I'm sitting there hoping my opponent spots it. My professional GM card has a clause on it that says, thou shalt not play terrible moves if you see your opponent can refute you and make you look like an idiot after you played it. And then you go, yes, I saw that. They'll say, what do you mean you saw bishop b2? Yeah, I saw he could play bishop b2. I just went for it. I just was hoping. Hope chess? I tell my students, no hope chess. No hope for you. Battle the game. Why would you create a position where one move you lose when, like Alejandro said, maybe you play another move and it's still a fight. There's some comp.
Right. It's also possible Ding Liren missed knight f3, right?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
This is the most likely scenario.
I don't think he saw it. He just would tell you instantly, I didn't see this move.
Yeah.
I don't think he saw bishop b2 and thought knight f3. He probably saw c5.
He probably thought c5 and he's fine.
These retreating moves are very difficult to spot.
Here, yeah.
Right.
And he just stopped and said, good for me. But knight f3 at the end, beautiful.
Yeah, he might even have lost at knight e6 or something. Might have considered knight e6 or something more direct.
But the knight is hanging. Right.
That knight is hanging at the end,
is a retreating move that's easy to miss. No, I just can't gamble like that. It's a different kind of thing.
nature.
I'm not a big gambler over the board, but I do know that there are some players that say, let's go.
Yeah, Alexei Shirov for me was a great gambler. He would, ramp up, when he could reduce the tension or the position, and he just had this great sense of, keeping the tactics alive, right? But this for me was just I just haven't seen this kind of pattern where. I'm still reeling that bishop c5 is refuted.
And the thing is, he saw this. He saw rook b8 was winning. You don't go into this with hope chess at this level. He saw rook b8 was winning, which is kind of amazing that he saw this from afar. That bishop e4.
Absolutely.
The whole concept he had to see from the beginning. Otherwise, you just play into this. The guy goes bishop c5 and you resign. He had to have a plan going into this. Seeing the rook b8 won. Seeing the rook b8 wins here is difficult. Seeing the rook b8 wins when you play bishop e4, wow.
And again, for those of you who may be joining us late, it's even here where if you don't see Black's next move, you resign. But Black's next move wins the game. It's a remarkable move. You go queen here, threatening mate, threatening the queen, and in case of queen takes, you've got the Zug. Rook takes d1 to win the game.
Is bishop f4 possible here?
I'm sorry. In this case, bishop f4? Probably. That looks really good too.
Yeah, you also win the queen there.
Yeah.
I think this.
You don't even need.
Oh, this will be a fight, but actually, it's not a fight because I cannot take on b1.
No, you just.
Yeah, still got mated.
Oh my goodness.
So f3 would be forced.
But that's
bishop f4, and then
that's the same.
Yeah. Takes moves. Check.
Oh no!
Bishop f4 check, and then
no,
completely. So no, that's not possible. Yeah, so bishop f4 wins too. So he had a couple of wins back at the end. He just missed bishop b2.
I like queen f4 best.
And let's take a look at this Hall of Fame. Past winners of the candidates, as we had Magnus Carlsen, of course, famously winning in 2013, edging Vladimir Kramnik on the tiebreaks. He went on to become the world champion, defeating Vichy Anand. Speaking of Anand, he made a great comeback in what a lot of people said was a big surprise of 2014, when Vichy, let's be honest, kind of dominated that candidates.
He did.
8.5 points. Sergei Karyakin, 8.5 points in 2016 in Moscow.
Surged. I mean,
surged at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we were all
surged at the end.
we all but popped the champagne in St. Louis, anticipating that in 2016 Fabi was going to win, but just at the very last 2 rounds, Sergey got the challenger spot.
By the way, looking at this list, there's one commonality. By the way, Nepo's score of 8.5 is pending.
It is pending because he's got one more game. Yeah,
9 or 9.5. But the one thing about this list that it doesn't say is that only one person remained the world champion, despite all the candidates. All right.
Everybody comes and goes as you like.
You could have had another for, like, you could be, all these candidates could be the same, but the person they're challenging for the title could have been different. But after 2013, there's only one name that you see on the other side of the ledger, and it's MC. The champion has remained Magnus Carlsen ever since he took the title. So Nepo will try to change that.
Quick question for you both. Obviously, since Magnus challenged for the World Championship title and won the World Championship title, it's been a short match. Dubai will be a longer match. How many games is the World Championship match in Dubai?
Did they announce that?
I saw something that said 24, I was disbelieving. I thought that was wrong. But I also saw something that was 16, and I just wasn't sure myself. So I just was hoping that you knew. By the way, Carol probably coming to this horrifying realization that something is amiss, has played your move Bishop B4, Alejandro, because there was nothing else in the position to do. Rook D1, Rook B1 loses for white. So,
but now we have choices for black, right? We could take on B4. We like that. C5, we were not entirely sure what happens after Queen E1. We could also just play Queen F4, right, and ask you how you're going to defend against checkmate.
Second, is Queen F1? Queen E1, not Rook takes B4?
Oh, man.
Oh,
that's
gross.
That is so...
I missed that.
I mean,
but I still have Rook E3. I still have Rook E3.
Rook E3. Okay.
Okay.
Rook B1's not
miracle move, right?
Oh, man, I'm finding them. I'm finding this miracle.
You're right. Rook E3 is a move.
Oh, man. How did I find this
hilarious.
one?
No, hold on.
I admit I didn't see Rook before.
Sorry. I'm not done. Rook E3, Queen G6.
Yeah, but Knight B3. That's a little too fancy.
Knight what?
B3.
Knight to B3.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You're right. I thought I was up material to win back.
I understand.
I'm not up material.
You're ready to show me your Rook B1 move here. But okay, in any case,
so
Bishop B4 was boss.
We weren't sure, right?
Yeah,
Rook takes B4 looks.
Yeah, but Alejandro's Knight F5 was bothersome. You had come up with.
And maybe you know what also is bothersome instead of Knight F5, just Queen E8.
No, leave the Rook on the back rank. I got to move. Leave the Bishop on B4. In this position. Oh no, it doesn't work. Sorry.
Okay.
What I was going to do, I found a refutation to my reputation. What I was going to do, you could go down the line. It was C5, Queen E1.
C5, Queen E1, right? Maurice, go on.
Queen D3.
Queen take? Yes.
Queen D3, Queen E5.
And you wanted to leave the Rook on the back rank, I hear?
Yes, and protect everything and play Queen B1 check.
Aha. So just move the Rook somewhere?
No.
Queen B1 immediately.
I want to play Queen B1 check.
Queen B1 check.
And against King H2.
Yeah.
King H2, I had the devious Queen takes B4, guarding everything. And if you play Knight F5, I was going to play Queen B2. But then I noticed Knight C6 in the position.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Shut down my whole thing. So I said, okay, I got to stop. That doesn't work because Queen takes on B8.
B8 is
suddenly wrecks my fantasy, so it doesn't work. So this is a sharp position. We'll have to mull this over.
Let's do it.
Extended analysis.
Let's do it during a break. What do you say, guys?
Yep. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with the last game of round 13. Still plenty of action left here for us.
When you visit St. Louis, you'll probably want to watch the Cardinals or the Blues. What about after the game? Heading back to the hotel would be a major error. Instead, boogie through the city and discover the music that gave the blues their name at the National Blues Museum, Broadway Oyster Bar, or even the legendary Blueberry Hill. So whether you love the Cardinals, the Blues, or the blues, come play with us. And you guys know I can't play this, right? St. Lou is always exploring.
Can you hear it? It's the sound of hope. And health. And strength. It's the sound of compassion. Of open doors. Where people and machines are in tune and miracles occur. It's the sound of personalized healthcare and active communities. It sounds like life, and it's what you hear when you really listen. Listening to you, caring for you. We are Ascension.
Be surprised. Be intrigued. Be delighted. The World Chess Hall of Fame in St. Louis is nothing you'd expect and everything you love. 3 galleries highlight the history, culture, and creativity behind the game. Explore chess in ways you never imagined. It's a one-of-a-kind cultural institution where rare artifacts and world-class art play together. The World Chess Hall of Fame. Mind, art, experience.
Founded in 1839, the University of Missouri is steeped in tradition. The recently founded Mizzou Chess Program is a partnership between the University of Missouri and the St. Louis Chess Club. Collegiate chess has been experiencing a meteoric rise at the national level. Through its tradition of excellence, Mizzou has always strived for the best. Mizzou Chess is working towards raising the bar by bringing our institution's ethos of respect, responsibility, discovery, and excellence to the chessboard.
Professional golf returns to St. Louis in 2021. The Ascension Charity Classic, presented by Emerson. Stars like Phil Mickelson, Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, and more compete at Norwood Hills Country Club, September 6th through the 12th. Tickets, clubhouse passes, hospitality suites, and Pro-Am foursomes are on sale now. All proceeds go to North St. Louis County Charities. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com or call 314-938-2828. PGA Tour Golf is back in the Lou. The Ascension Charity Classic.
The St. Louis Chess Club is pleased to announce the expansion of our world-class chess facility. The 20,000 square foot expansion and upgraded facility will feature new ground-level classrooms supporting players of all ages, as well as expanded tournament and community gathering spaces with state-of-the-art technology. Accessibility upgrades, including a new 3-story elevator, will provide access for all participants and allow even greater community engagement in the great game of chess. As a proud resident of the Central West End neighborhood for over a decade, our hope is to build upon our investment into the community and solidify St. Louis as America's chess capital and preeminent global destination for lovers of the sport. We look forward to seeing you in our new space in 2021, when we will host the 2021 U.S. Chess Championships, 2021 U.S. Juniors and Senior Championships, the Sinkfield Cup, St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, and more.
welcome everybody. We are back in what we think will be the final portion of round 13 of the candidates. Let's take a look at the current standings. There you are with the challenger to Magnus Carlsen. It's going to be Jan Nepomniachtchi. 8.5 points with a great performance. Still 1 round to go. And you can say, can Anish Giri catch that with a win and a loss by Jan? Yes, he can catch him in the tournament points, but he cannot catch him in the tournament standings, as crucially, Anish has a worse tiebreak against Nepo because of their head-to-head, which means the tournament is essentially over. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave and Fabiano Caruana are currently tied for 3rd place. Grischuk, with a little bit of a surge on the last few days, finds himself at 6.5, 50%. Wang Hao, Ding Liren, well, not having the tournaments of their lives. And Kirill Alexenko, he's tried to make the mark in his tournament. He's still playing against Ding Liren, but oh boy, luck is simply not on his side today. And we were analyzing some variation during the break, and it seems like Ding Liren is going right into it. Yasser, take us through.
Exactly. Black is spoiled for choice, queen f4, and the move that was played, rook takes b4, is a really, really nice move. We were, during the break, we were looking at queen takes, rook takes, queen takes, back rank mate threat, got a scurry to bring the knight in the way. And here, you're absolutely hoping that white will play queen takes
Black
f2. Black will play queen takes f2. Put his queen on the g3 square, threatening you with mate, but then you'll have the move knight f3, which will defend everything. But Ding Liren found the crushing blow. Bishop to d4 in order to take with the bishop on f2. That makes all the difference in the world. We were having some fun ourselves looking at a, what did we call it, Maurice? A 15-move variation, where we reach here and you say to yourself, can we make a perpetual? Well, we'll set up the pattern. So check to the king, please go back to g8 so I can go queen here. But no, the king actually just goes for a walk all the way up the board. And it was an important moment right here too. We could go we could force the trade of queens, but that actually loses. This is a terrible ending for
By the way, queen
white.
f3 check, king e5 was better.
It's a
than
little
king
more
e6.
precise, even though
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. King e6 allows queen takes c6 check.
Yeah, that
course.
might. Right. King
that would
E5.
have been a bad move. Yes, but we had seen a line like this, and we rejected it for
It's just sad.
As unacceptable. And so we were, excuse me. Let's just go here. So we were looking at a variation.
No, queen f3 you can't play. You have to play queen f4. Queen f3 has been refuted by king e5.
Right.
This line you have to play and hope that somehow you're still checking this king forever. But
we have gotten to.
No, we never tried c5.
It's different because c5 you can take with the bishop, I think. As soon as the bishop moves, the queen controls too many squares.
Correct.
Like, for example, c5, bishop takes c5, you don't even have one check. So you have to play.
You have to keep checking.
Check.
And now we're in the mix.
And then you go back.
We got
should
to
go to
something.
b5. You should go to b5, yes.
Yeah, but we got to some position like this, right?
Basically.
Where we managed to.
Yeah, but you could have done it in one move. You went around right after you took right here. Just go to b5.
Right.
And you just do it like this, and then you go back.
We got some position like this, and we said there wasn't going to be any perpetual check anymore, and that was
queen e5 check. We had to play king a6 before letting this happen, but this way is possible, and now it's time to pay the piper.
Yeah, you have to go into the end game, but that's hopeless.
Right. Queen e2 check trades off at the end there as well, but up a pawn, the bishop destroys the knight easily.
And queen b8 already on the board. Of course, king h7 is the only move, so it's been played. Ding Liren is the type of player that just calculates it out, right?
We're going to see the line.
Queen f4, no second thought, immediately took on f2.
Exactly.
We are going to see this exact line play itself out. unless he resigns, because his last chance is this prepet. Queen f5 check on the board, king up on the board, and we'll see all these moves. Queen f4 check, the only check to play, and not g5 and blow everything. Definitely not g5 now. Here comes the king marching over, as this would just
king
blow
g6 played
absolutely everything. So king g6 instead played, and it's time to march the king to the other side where there are pawns that can shelter it. Right. And I doubt Kirill will resign. He'll keep checking to see.
As long as you have a check, you don't resign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What your opponent might do.
I mean, in my days of youth, I mean, you'd always go down with a spike check. The last great act of defiance. You didn't resign when you got a check on the board.
By the way, I'd make a point that is an important point, I think, that a lot of books sort of avoid or don't talk about. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any books. You can tell me if you have, but I've never seen a book that talked about the importance of the check itself, right? You just check. That's all it is. It's just a check. It's a forcing move, and you must respond to it. And because what a check will do, and you know, when you're beginners, you play bishop b5 check. Ooh, right. I'm attacking the king on e8, and then they play c6, and you go, well, that was dumb, right? Yeah, right. And so you learn not to waste your check or just to play any old checks. But there are a lot of positions where you start with a check, and it disrupts the opponent's position. Something happens. Your check didn't have any single necessary meaning by itself. It's not forking any pieces. There's no skewer action or anything like that. You just say check, your turn. And when the player, because it's a forcing move, you have to do something about check. And then when you start looking, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Wherever I put my king, something bad's going to happen after this check. And it's what I call a setup check. The check sets up some other kind of known tactic, like the pin, like a skewer, some interference tactic, discoveries, whatever it is. But that setup check is important. It looks like it's by itself, it's harmless, but it's what follows. And so when you talk about a spike check, just checked him. It wasn't my fault he walked onto the wrong square, and then I hit him with a tactic. It's not my fault. Just a little check.
I have the book. I don't recommend the book at all. I think it almost ruined my chess. Pawn power in chess, but you're saying something like the power of the check in chess. Some book like that. I can't think of any book meaning what you've discussed. Yeah, what you discussed.
I mean, there's so many positions where your very first check is just a check. We do it all the time. We save ourselves with that. You finish your tactic, and then I go, oh, check. My queen came back. Oh, wow, I didn't look at that, right? It was just a check. It just set up the next position so I could launch from that check to a different square that's much more important. And it's just something I've never seen in books. Tactic books, you always see things based on the themes, either the typical tactics we talk about, the pin, the fork, the skewer, and others, or mating patterns, like The Art of Checkmate by Renaud and somebody else. I forget his name. But, you know, these are the checkmating patterns. These are the tactical themes. But to say, it's just a check. First, it's just a check. But watch what happens next, because you started with this check. It's not something I see discussed in the literature. So interesting here. And like you said, spike checks count. Spike check. You just check, it might be mate. I've heard that said. People check. But a lot of times we teach our students, don't just check, please. It's not a good idea to just check. But sometimes it is a good idea to just check. It's just a check, but it leads somewhere else. Here, it looks like it may lead nowhere. Yeah, the setup check. I don't have a better name. I wish I had a more elegant name, but the setup check, it sets up the next possibility. Who knows what will happen next?
Well, I can only imagine how badly Kirill is feeling. By the way, badly and with 40 seconds, as I point
he has
out.
4 moves to make, so he has to choose his checks kind of carefully.
It looks like he's chosen.
King
Queen
E6 played.
F4, King E6. Yeah,
They're
I
going
mean,
into
I
this
can
line.
just imagine how badly he's feeling because literally 10 moves ago or a little less or more, he was up 2 pawns and declining draws and everything, and now he's in an eternal pin, and just hoping against hope that he has a perpetual check, which we believe is not the case. We think he's actually just lost.
Actually, he could even defend that knight. He could have defended the knight on the last move with Queen H2.
No self-respecting no self-respecting grandmaster would ever allow this position to appear anywhere near.
You talk about not having any moves after
I
that.
will play Queen takes F2 long before I will play Queen H2, Bishop G3. That's terrible. Oh boy. Queen E4 check on the board, expecting, can he just dance another way away? I mean,
there's no need. But
why find another? We found one win. But King D7, Queen F5 worries me.
Why? The next check is
A5.
Well, that's nice. I mean, that's great. Get yourself over there.
No, I don't want the queen on that side.
What?
What's wrong with it?
Come on.
Really?
I check
Queen
on
A8.
F5 again. Wait, why A8?
Well, I was thinking if you go down, Maurice, that I would just get this, and I would see.
I'm gonna play Queen A5.
Oh,
but King.
Well, then I guess we would eventually get maybe back to our.
Yeah, Daniel Rand, what is this nonsense? King D6 immediately.
No.
Yep. He did.
King D6 immediately, Queen F4 back, King C5 immediately. Of course, Daniel Rand has foreseen all of this.
Go hide in front of the pawns. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Go hide in front of the other player's pawns, or you get your bishop back in the game. I mean, this is what you would normally do. Although here, with King, the immediate King B4 is met by Queen B2 check.
Right.
So the idea of hiding inside of your opponent's pawns is a very typical idea. It's not the cleanest hiding place there. But if you can take a pawn in the meantime on C4 and then bring your pieces that are beautifully diagonally placed back to help, bishop drops back, maybe your queen might drop back in the way. Then when you trade off into the end game, you're just looking at the burning embers, the ashes remaining of your poor position, as you were once up 2 pawns, you said, Yas?
Yeah, 2 pawns
now
and
you're
cruising.
down 1 with your knight pinned on the back rank, your king groveling in the corner. And
you feel so
Queen's
physically helpless at these eternal pins.
And he's taking the pawn. And he's like, now I'm up, and you're still pinned, and there's not going to be a perpet.
So Queen F4 is the only move, right? Because Queen E4 runs into Bishop D4, and that kind of helps black.
Are you sure? Queen C6? You want
sorry. I forgot C6 is hanging. Yeah, my bad. So either way, you're forced back to B5.
Right.
The problem, he has played Queen E4, King B5. A4 don't go into the end game. That's busted.
Yeah,
A4, King moves, and there are no...
No, you'll hide on A3, right? You can just kind of see it brewing.
And even maybe when there's a check and you're on A3, you'll go C5 and that bishop on F2.
No, my problem is he might even take it eventually, and then his queen and bishop are ready to back up and cover.
My God, I mean, I just feel the pain. I just can't imagine how badly Carol is feeling at this exact moment. I mean, he declined a draw. He's playing for the win for much of the game, and to reach this position is just heartache. King B5 on the board.
Yeah, I don't see A4.
When I think of particularly bad losses, this one is probably a bad one. You guys remember what is your worst loss where you had a big turnaround like this? Alejandro, share the demons.
I've had pretty bad ones. I think the worst one ever was that needing a draw to clinch the Final Four for collegiate chess.
Yeah.
Against crits. I was white.
That happened. Oh, okay.
And all I needed was a draw and the team clinches. And by the way, Dinglerin has won. Alexenko has resigned.
He has resigned.
I simply left the piece hanging. Like I was up.
Oh.
I was in a position in which it was 2 pawns against 1, knight and rook against bishop and rook, and I'm pressing. I have 2 pawns. I can't lose. And he attacked my rook, and I didn't move it.
And he took your rook.
And he took it.
And you didn't make the final 4.
No, there was the final of the final 4.
Oh, that was the final of the final 4.
That was the last round.
Okay, that hurt.
Yeah, that was really bad.
You'll carry that with you for the next 20 years for sure.
For sure. Well, it's been 10, so I'm counting them off.
we had 4 decisive games in round 12. We've had 3 decisive games in round 13. Guys, fatigue, lengthy tournament, whatever it is, we're seeing a lot of victories in these last few rounds.
A lot of action for sure. Yasser, are you not entertained? Look at these great games. Feeling for Kirill Alexenko's first showing here, but welcome to the big leagues, right? You can't make him look like bishop c5 and think that he didn't have a plan. What a cold shower rook b8 was for their young Russian. But it's okay. Russia's celebrating. Jan Nepomniachtchi in the World Championship match. I mean, we said coming into the tournament, Nepo. He's one of the leaders. He's been playing well. He's mercurial. He could lose 3 in a row, but he didn't do that this tournament. He kept his cool, kept his composure, he kept his stability. And now he's number 3 in the world and challenging Magnus Carlsen.
I thought that was a particularly insightful comment of Fabi when he said that this 1-year break actually favored Nepo as he was wobbly. He lost that game 7 and that 1-year break helped him. Here's our pairings for tomorrow.
Yeah, pairings for tomorrow. There's still a tournament left, so we need to take
There's still a round to go.
We have Fabiano Caruana with the white pieces against Alexander Grischuk. I'm sure that Fabi will try to win that game. Anish Giri will be trying to secure his 2nd place by beating Alexenko. Ding Liren with the white pieces. Well, I don't think this game is going to be the most dramatic against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave with the white pieces against Wang Hao to finish off the event. Tough to play tomorrow, honestly.
A win by Ding Liren, by the way, will put him back at number 3 in the world. So I don't know if that's any motivation for him. He's also gained rating points this half of the tournament. As badly as we were saying he was doing, he's actually gained rating points. If he had beaten Maxime, as he should have, he would have been having a great event, by the way.
Great second half.
Great second half, right?
A great second half.
Come back from the first half.
Yeah, definitely would have been in a different setting. And, but again, motivation, how do these players play the last day when they already know the event is over? There was only 1 goal and 1 player has met that goal. These players play for the title. That's what they do. So to come tomorrow and say, I really, really, really want to beat you personally, I mean, you got to come in with a chip on your shoulder. I don't like you, and you're going down. I know it doesn't matter, but you're going down. That's got to be the attitude. I don't think they'll be doing that. I think, as you mentioned before, Alejandro, they probably try to book an early flight. Could I get an early flight? Would you mind booking? Because if I get early flight home, I need to get out of here. I don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
But we will be back tomorrow.
Absolutely. We'll be back. Same time, same place. Early tomorrow, we have 4 more brilliant games of chess. Do not miss them. The players are still fighting for pride, for money, for rating, and we'll see it all and take action.
Thank you for sharing your day. Have a good one.